Hello everyone! Welcome. I've just got to change my headphones. Hang on 2 seconds. There we go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the live stream. It's Monday. How's everyone's weekend been? I've had a whole weekend off this week, which is a little bit different. When I saw Rich over at HS Pressure Washing, when I met him on Saturday, just for a little day out with the kiddies, that was fun. Today we're going to be talking about, is my microphone loud enough? Today we're going to be talking about 8 reasons why I think, personally, my business has been successful. And I'm curious to hear what you guys think of what I think those reasons are. Let's bring that down a little bit. There we go. Testing. I think we're good. Welcome, Tracy. Welcome, Alex. Kerno Power Cleaning. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before, have I? Kerno Power. I would have remembered that name. I'm sure I would have. 8 reasons why I think my business has been successful, and some of them are tools, things that I use. Some of them are like methods. Some of them are like business principles. So I think this could be quite interesting, and I'd like to get it up to. I mean, it'd be nice to make a list of 10, wouldn't it? But I've got 8, which I'm fairly set on. So maybe towards the end, if you guys think I've missed anything out, then maybe we add to the list. But let me just have a little look. See. Did anyone see the video I posted just on Facebook and Instagram and stuff about the hard setting jointing sand that we installed at that lady's property? The original reel did incredibly well, but then the customer said she'd read the comments on it, and the comments were so overwhelmingly negative from people just like shitting on it, just saying that it doesn't work, and I've caused more of a problem than I've solved, and all this sort of stuff. This is the video. This is the second video. We just went back today because there was a small hole that had formed. I guess it had sunk or something. I can't remember what the cause of the hole was, but a small hole had formed. So we were passing. I just had to pop in and fix the hole. But like, this is the result. Have a little sticky beak. Look at that, and look at the size of the joints. Like, the joints are chunky.
Every day I come home from work just to look at him, seeing if he's breathing. I'm like, still going.
But apparently, I haven't read the comments, but apparently they were like, the lady was having to hold back from replying to everyone.
On this one, we're using neck.
So this one's done pretty well on like all platforms. It's done like almost 300,000 views on Facebook. This guy's like, sorry to tell you, the weeds will be back in no time. But everyone's just like, you need to use a whacker. Now you have a patio with no drainage. Actually, it's permeable, so chill out. Not a mask in sight. Fair. It was a hot day. It needs a sealant on the bricks. Not necessarily. And then people saying like, the blocks are laid totally wrong by cowboys. Okay, whatever. I mean, and then there's people saying like, we've blown it all over the neighbours when we've blown the kiln dry, blown it off with the leaf blower and stuff. It's just like such negative Nancy's. It's pretty hilarious. And this is what we come to expect from like Instagram and Facebook and TikTok now. I was scrolling TikTok earlier, and so, God, it's just, if you scroll the live section on TikTok, it's just pure desperation. It's people like, it's a lot of girls trying to promote their OnlyFans. It's a lot of lads sat there with no tops on, just not saying anything, just like, hey mate, you're right. Just like saying what's up to the camera, to the chat and stuff. And it's like loads of people trying to sell stuff, and there's people trying to like encourage tips and like what they call roses and stuff, and just saying like, any more roses, just one more rose before we head off. And it's like, come on, You just sat in front of the camera, not really offering anything. But I just thought that was funny. I thought that was pretty crazy. Is that what we're doing here? Just sat in front of the camera, not really offering anything? I don't know. But I've never scrolled TikTok live before, and I was just intrigued. So I thought, what am I sort of competing against when I went live on TikTok? And I've decided we're not actually going to do that anymore because it wasn't working. It was more trouble than it was worth. So instead, I think we're going to focus on YouTube, unless TikTok do something crazy and start actually making it easier. TikTok Live is full of grifters. Yeah, that's what I noticed. House to a Home, welcome. How you doing? Baz, welcome. You're right, mate. I need to create a little. I need a little on screen. Let's make a new, not a folder, no, new source. I want a. I just want text. I just want text. I think it's that one. 8 things. What have I called the live stream? What's it called again? 8 reasons. I think it's 8 reasons. And then we're going to add that. We're going to add that there. And then that text is so ugly, it's ridiculous. Not sure that's better, but we'll go with that. And then, I mean, I want to make it look somewhat attractive. Let's go with that. Let's. Sorry guys, I should have probably prepared this before I went live, but you know how it is sometimes. You understand. Okay. Number 1. Right, let's go. Can we go alignment left, alignment right? Okay. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Any update on little Jakey? No, I've not actually spoke to him for ages, to be honest, if I'm totally honest with you. Now, why is that one like that? Why is number 1 off center? Don't do this to me, because that's going to really bug me. Okay, hello sausage. You're right, Rich. How's it going? Daz, welcome. Evening all. Keep being amazing, everyone. We'll get started here in just a second. Just bear with, will you? Just everyone, just calm down. Everything's fine. Okay. Let's go with that, I suppose. Where's my chat gone? My chat's disappeared. Oh, guys, my chat's disappeared. Where's the chat gone? Has the chat disappeared for anyone else, or is it just me? I'm trying to get it on the PC now, and it's gone. It's literally gone. What about if I resize the window? Oh, there it is. I've got it back. Yeah, should have done this before the stream started. Sorry, everyone. Curbside coming in hot. Hello, Luke. You all right, mate? Loving the new water tank setup. Have you got it, Alex? You've got it set up in your my new water tank setup. I thought you already had a water tank setup. Oh no, you had a buffer tank, didn't you? You had a wheelie bin. Good evening. How are we? Just leaving the hotel in Cancun. Welcome, Tintins. Jesus Christ. I've been paid. Ben, I am new. Welcome, Ben. How you doing, mate? Just walked into the house 5 minutes ago. Long old day, gutter and fascia soffit cleaning. We've actually fully stopped offering gutters, fascia, soffits. Things might change in the winter. It might change. But it's unlikely. I think I'd rather not go out to work than go out and do gutters, fascias, soffits at the moment, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe maybe I've just got the summer. Maybe summer's spoiled me a little bit, where we've just had the majority like pressure washing and roof cleaning work and gutters, where I've got to the point where we're doing so much of the ground surface stuff as well. It's just no point in offering it. But we're also not going to be doing Christmas lights this year as well, which I think a few of our customers are going to be very disappointed with. They're going to get in touch. They're just not high enough ticket for the amount of time we spend on site for some of them. Some of them are really easy, and you're in and out within half an hour, and you've made 80-90 quid, and it's great. But some of them, especially the ones with like the dormers and just like the tricky access and stuff, you've got to get your ladders up so high, and it's quite a dangerous job. It's quite high risk, low reward, and I'd rather just not. I'd rather not put my staff through it, and I'd rather not put myself through it. Just to put some lights up, like some of the. I remember some of the reaches we were doing with the ladders and stuff. I was just thinking, like, is it really worth stretching, potentially falling off this ladder, to put some Christmas lights up for 80 quid? Like, Connor, welcome. Love the stream, thanks. If you guys love the stream, by the way, a little like and a subscribe would be incredible. Do you not clean gutters, fascias, soffits with roof cleans? No, we just rinse them with the sniper nozzle. Keep them wet where possible. So generally, there's one person on the ground, one person on the scaffold tower or the cherry picker or whatever, and the one on the ground, because we've got two machines. The one on the ground's just like keeping everything wet, just so none of that dirt is getting a chance to dry on in the sun, causing us to like have to scrub it off afterwards. Kieran was messing with the handbrake, and we pulled up to this job. It's on a hill. He pulled the handbrake up and he was like, I think this handbrake needs adjusting because it feels a little bit weird. And then he had to move the van to let a neighbour out. And then I heard a ping, and the handbrake snapped on the van like a couple of hours ago today, and it's in for the MOT tomorrow. So that's going to be very interesting. And we've got squeaks. We were going down the dual carriageway the other day, and lost all power. Warning light on the dash said coolant, stop vehicle immediately, turn the engine off immediately or something like that. And we were like, oh God, what's going on? And we were on a dual carriageway, and he was putting his foot to the floor and nothing was happening. The van was just slowing down. And then about 3 or 4 seconds later, all the warnings went away, and it just started driving like normal again. So I don't know what's going on with the van at the minute, but I think it needs some work. Luckily, I've got a little maintenance pot in the bank for emergencies. Luckily. And this is something I wanted to get on in the list. Something I wanted to touch on in a bit. It comes into a couple of the points that I was going to make. So can't stay long. Just wanted to say thanks for the inspiration to give me the push to start my business. You and Cedars have a good stream, my man. Thank you. Kenzie, thank you so much. Appreciate you. That number one's going to bug me. I know. What's going on with that? Maybe if I delete that one and then type it again. Fixed it. Not sure. Not sure what caused that. I'll be honest, current rates for gutter clears are literally a race to the bottom. See, I was saying the opposite to Rich the other day. We were going for a walk and we were talking about gutter clears and the potential, like when there's 2 of you on it, how quickly you can get through them. I said to Rich, with 2 of us, it's almost enjoyable. Clearing gutters is almost enjoyable. Like it's decent work, I think. And I've been experimenting this year. Before, my minimum charge for gutter clearing was 80 quid. Recently, I haven't charged less than 120 quid. And I've not had one person push back. Not one person has said no. They've all gone ahead. And so I'm just upping my minimum charge for gutter clearing. 120 quid, you can be in and out in less than an hour. I think that's good going. If you were to do that every day, you know, through the winter, for example, if you were to pop a bit of money into Google Ads and really invest in some, you know, good marketing around gutter clearing and create a solid core offer like your boy's got on his website, you create a solid core offer, you could be doing 5, 6 gutter clears every single day. What's 120 quid times 5? 600 quid, isn't it? I don't think that's a bad proposition, personally. Mine is always 120 quid for up to 3 sides. Interesting. A couple of admin days for you lads while the van's getting fixed. I don't know. We have Tuesdays off anyway, so it's booked in on a day off. Kieran's taking the van in, which, again, what a fantastic... something I don't have to worry about. He's booked it in. He's going to take it in for me and deal with the repairs and stuff, whatever he's doing. How good is it to have someone like Kieran on board that can sort all that stuff out for you so you don't have to worry about it? I didn't even know the MOT was due. He just, off his own back, just sorted it out. How good is that? This is why you invest in good staff. Again, another point that we're going to touch on in the list. All good, just leave it in gear. That's exactly what we are going to have to do. Around my area, 40 to 60 pound, people are hand clearing them. I wouldn't turn my generator back on for less than 100 quid. It is what it is, isn't it? It's, yeah, different. I understand different areas and stuff, but also I think something worth promoting is images. You will receive before and after images of your gutters once we've cleared them. Peace of mind that the job has been done properly. I think that in this industry is very valuable to customers. So if you could promote that and advertise it, and at the quoting stage just say, look, we're going to show you our work, we're going to make sure you know that we've done it properly. That could tip the customer over there. That could be more than what the next man's willing to do. Where did you get that clip from? What clip for your camera? Oh, this one. If you go to Gardiner Pole Systems, and type in camera mount. That one there. What can I say except you're welcome? Cedars, I just read your message and almost spat my coffee out. That is so funny. Wagwan, just watering my cucumbers. That's so good. Recently, not only gutters, so many people with cheap pressure washers popped. It's mental, lost several jobs due to ridiculous quotes. Look, if you are running a commoditized business and those people are legitimately your competition, and it's if you're playing the price game, you're gonna lose. If you're not the cheapest, you're gonna lose. So you need to figure out what sets your business apart and shout about it from the rooftops. It can't just come down to price. My customers, I am very, very rarely the cheapest. Very rarely. In fact, I'm quite often the most expensive. But my customers know exactly what they're going to get because I have proof. Another thing we're going to touch on in the list. Should we start the list? Should we get going on the list? Busy fools will soon disappear. Very true. Reputation is everything. Reputation, integrity. It's not to say bend over backwards to your customers and give them everything that they ask for. It's about being fair and honest, in my opinion. You've got to decommoditize your business and think of reasons that why your business is different to everyone else's and why you offer something more valuable to the customer. Put yourself in the customer's shoes. As a customer, what would you want from a contractor? What would be the best possible thing? In my opinion, it's good communication, proof, good reviews, before and after pictures, so I can see that the work that you do. Evening, fellow DJs. Elliot, welcome. DJs. Right. The number one thing, in no particular order, it's not the number one thing, it's one of the things, which I think has been one of the reasons for my business being successful, is a set price, no, not a set price, a price structure. I kind of like that everything's, oh, I understand why the one went over there now. I understand. A price structure. So, a lot of people in this industry, I don't like the one being over that side. I'm going to put it, I'm going to have to do that now, aren't I? I'm going to have to do that. Now, a lot of people in this industry are turning up to jobs and they are having a quick look around and they are pulling a price out of thin air. They're doing remote quotes and they're guessing and giving it their best guess. And immediately that puts you, in my opinion, at a disadvantage because the customer assumes that your price is now negotiable. I've realised it's not just since we started using the Moja, but I've realised that since we've explained to our customers that we charge this much per side, for example. So if I say to someone that we charge £45 per side for gutter clearing, that's what the price is. Zero pushback. It's either a yes or a no. It's quite often a yes, specifically with gutter clearing. If a customer can see that we've measured their drive, we've visited and we've measured their driveway, or we've measured their patio, or measured their roof for a roof clean, for example, and then they can see that we've applied our price structure, there is, from what I've found over the last couple of years since we've introduced a price structure, we've had zero negotiation. Maybe there's been one or two people that have pushed back and tried to negotiate, but we just fall back to like this is what everyone pays, this is our standard price. We're not discounting our service to fit your budget. If you can't afford the service, that's fine. Or we can take things off of our service in order to come down to your budget. So for example, if someone's asked for the driveway and patio to be done, but in their opinion the price is too high, I can always offer, okay, why don't we just do maybe just a soft wash on the patio instead of a full pressure wash? Or maybe you don't have the patio done this time, we just do the driveway. So we're not just offering a random discount. We're fitting their budget by removing services. I think that's a really good way of doing it, because then it shows the customer that you're flexible. You're flexible in the service that you offer, but your price it's a set price. And I think that's a very powerful position to be in. And I understand the temptation when you're just starting out and when things are fresh and you're keen to get the work in. You might even be desperate. You might even be in a situation where money is extremely tight and you're relying on that next job to come in. And that does I've been there. It does immediately put you on the back foot, and it's not a fun place to be. But if you can hold your ground, I think it's a really good core value of your business. So the sooner you get a price structure in place. Also, other benefits of a price structure. Now that I've got staff, now that I've got Kieran on board, he knows the price structure, and he's off doing quotes without, he doesn't even need to check them with me anymore, because he knows the price structure. We've got a big list. We've got a list of prices. Like Alex says, minimum charges, 100% need minimum charges. So that's a good starting point. So set yourself up with a minimum charge for each job. So Kieran knows no matter what it is, no matter how big it is, we're charging at least this much. And of course we can offer other incentives around that. Like we quite often offer, I've just thought of another one. 9 reasons. 9 reasons. I'd love to get to 10. I would love to get to 10. Maybe we'll just do 10. And maybe we think about an extra one along the way. Maybe we do that. So we offer other incentives, such as if the customer decides to book in for more than one service, and this is important, they need to commit to more than one service, or all of the services quoted, we can give you an additional 5 or 10% discount, providing all the work is booked for the same visit. And also, I'm just writing one down for later. So something we ran into recently with this idea of offering a 10% discount. Sometimes on bigger projects, especially when you're spreading work out and you've got, say, maybe you've got a roof clean, you've got the conservatory to do, the rear patio and the driveway. You're not getting all that done in one day, realistically. So my advice would be, tell the customer upfront beforehand, look, we can offer you a 10% discount if you book in for all of this work to be done at the same time. Even if you spread that out across the week, the caveat I would say is you'll receive that discount on the final invoice. Just in case you decide, like, don't say this, but like, just in case you decide to cancel the driveway after we've done the roof, then you wouldn't qualify for that 10% discount because you've not had all the work done. And what I like to do is say to the customer beforehand, what I'd like to do, because these are all quite big ticket services, I'd like to invoice on completion after each service, and this helps pull money forward. So the last thing you want to do, in my opinion, when you've got a big project, is you clean the roof on day one, and then maybe you return on day two to clean the driveway and the patio, and then it rains, and it rains again, and it's day 5 or 6 before you get a chance to come back and do the resanding on the driveway, for example. If you wait until day 5 or 6 to invoice the whole job, you're potentially going to be sat on 2 or 3 grand that you haven't invoiced, that you've completed. And you can't invoice the whole job because in the customer's eyes, the job's not finished. So this is a trap you want to try and, like, it's not something the customer's done intentionally, it's not something you've done intentionally, but it's something to watch out for. I would stipulate in the original quote, we will invoice each job on completion, and then on a final invoice, you'll receive that total 10% discount for all the work. And that helps pull some money forward. And we'll talk about another way that you can pull money forward a little bit later on. Do you take deposits on a job? We do now. We never used to. Anything over £500 we'll now take deposits. Or anything that I've got to order materials on, we'll take deposits. How did you handle dry spells in the beginning before having a solid customer base? Friends and family, I would try and keep myself busy. And I would keep taking photos and videos of everything I do. I'd make sure that I've got something to post on my Instagram and my Facebook. My friends and family would share my posts, and so there would be stuff that trickles in. But because I was still in a full-time job, this was just something I did on the side. So dry spells didn't affect me at all. And also, even when I went full-time in this job, in pressure washing and exterior cleaning, even when I went full-time, again, dry spells didn't affect me because I didn't cut ties with my previous employer. I kept things very civil, and I managed to stay on a 0-hour contract. And so I said, look, in the winter, things are going to be very hit and miss. I don't know what to expect when it comes to winter, because pressure washing, apparently, the work falls off a cliff at the end of September, which is very true. I'm going to try and do some gutter clearing over the winter, but I don't know how successful that's going to be because I've got no returning customers yet. I haven't built a customer base. So luckily, as soon as it got quiet, I just rang up my old employer and said, have you got any hours for me this week? And some weeks I was doing 5 days a week, some weeks I was doing 1 day a week. And it's a great way to supplement your income and avoid all of that uncertainty. If you go out there and quit your job and you've got no backup plan, it's a very dangerous game to play, especially if you've got commitments. If you've got a mortgage, if you've got a family, the last thing I would recommend that you do, even if you've got a huge budget, even if you can put 15-20 grand into your setup and your van and your site writing and all that sort of stuff, and you've still got a little bit of money left over, I would suggest your first year could be extremely difficult, especially during the winter months. And you haven't proved yet that you know how to market yourself and your business. The easy bit is buying all the kit. That's the easiest bit. The hard bit is actually promoting your business because no one knows you exist. You've got to get in front of people. Tintins, we're going to get onto that one, mate. That is one that's on my list. Jake, I need to seal some pattern imprinted concrete sealer after jet washing using Smart Seal product. Can you give me an idea of price per square meter? 12. Around about £12 per square meter, all in, and that includes cleaning, chemically treating, and then returning on a dry day to apply at least 2 coats of sealer, and some non-slip granules. Generally, with pattern imprinted concrete, in my experience, I've needed at least 3 coats on most jobs. So you might want to account for that. But generally, after that first coat goes down and gets sucked into the concrete, any more coats that you do after that, you actually don't use a hell of a lot of product in comparison to that first coat. That first coat is super thirsty and it gets sucked in. Anything after that, yeah, it's one of them. It's always knowledge and knowing what you're talking about, explaining the process. Is that with quoting? Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, explaining the process to the customer. Some customers, especially the busy ones, the ones that have got, quite often the business owners or the people that have got a lot of money, they don't care. They just want the job done right, which is why they try and reach out to the right person first time. Busy people care more about their time than they do their wallet. And so that sometimes they don't need it explaining to them. Sometimes, if you can offer proof up front, whether you've got good social media, good website, good reviews, whatever it might be, they get in touch with you in the first place, and quite often price doesn't really matter because they know they've chosen you because they know you're going to get the job done properly. They avoid all the smaller businesses and the new guys, the ones that don't have much proof, because they don't want to get their time wasted. They don't want to have to do the job twice. I'd say no matter what service you have, you need a minimum charge. Agreed, Elliot. Absolutely agreed. To be fair, I really like the remote quoting. I get them to send pictures of the condition and quite often the approximate measurements on Google Earth. The time it saves me going to measure works out for me. True, Connor. True. What's your conversion rate though? Are you talking about roof cleaning, or are you talking about driveways and patios and stuff? Because I'll push back a little bit. What I will say is remote quoting conversion rates are drastically lower than if you were to visit every single quote in person. And fully understand, outside of your town, outside of your local area, it's difficult to visit those ones, and quite often I wouldn't recommend driving any more than 25-30 minutes to go and look at like a roof quote, for example. It's a hell of a lot of time, especially if you've got a lot of quotes coming in. It's a hell of a lot of time potentially wasted when the customer doesn't necessarily understand the price of roof cleaning. So with roof cleaning, it is good to give a ballpark estimate before you go out there and just say, look, my prices are generally between 700 and 1,000 for a roof of your size, but what I'd like to do is come and visit and get a feel for the access and the condition of the roof and all that sort of stuff, and then I'll give you a price from there. But is that roughly within your budget? And then if they say no, I was expecting 300-400 quid, it's like, okay, no worries, you're not a customer for me. And I think that's good. I think that's a good way of doing it, because you're not wasting your time and you're sort of setting expectations beforehand. Who has a pricing page on their website? That's a very good question. Let me ask that in the chat, because I was thinking about this the other day. I thought, is it worth, show your support for Smelt. I'm signed into the wrong account. I was wondering whether this would be a good idea or not, to have a pricing page on your website where customers can almost create their own quotes. But I think there's too many caveats. What I wouldn't want to do, I suppose when you're busy enough though and you've got so much work coming in, 10, 15, 20 quid here and there, like a swing here and there, you'll win some and you'll lose some. Is it really worth, does it matter? You know what I mean? Do you have, what did you call it? a pricing page. Right, I've just put a poll in the chat, so I'd like everyone to vote if possible. It's not only do you have a pricing page on your website, maybe do you think a pricing page is a good idea as well? If you don't have a pricing page, would you have a pricing page on your website? I suppose that's the question. Nice setups don't pay the bills if you don't have work. Exactly. Hello, Nathan. You okay, mate? I agree. Roof is better to go in person. Yeah, and I think you're relying heavily on the customer taking good pictures as well, which has always been a bit of a bottleneck for remote quoting for myself. Like, you know, the customers where you'll ask them to take a photo of the driveway or the patio, and they literally take a close-up photo of the slabs. And it's like, yeah, but I also need to see like the whole area. Also, I've got no idea how big the patio is. I have a minimum price on the website, but not detailed price lists, says Alex. Minimum charges on the website could be a good idea. That could be a good idea. But then how far off are your customers expecting your minimum charge to be? Like, if I was to say my minimum charge for pressure washing work is 140 quid, for example. But then the driveway quote actually turns out to be 350 quid. Is that customer going to be like, hang on, I thought it was going to be about 140 quid like your website says? And then you got to have that conversation like, no, that's the minimum charge for me to do like the smallest job. And then the customer's like, I don't know if that's good in all. I don't know if a minimum charge would suit most customers. Most customers probably aren't going to be at the minimum charge, so that might alienate the ones that aren't and only benefit the ones that are. I don't know. Apex, welcome. I'm starting out and will be visiting PWS Stafford for my setup. I live in Kent, so I need somewhere closer to service and maintenance, etc. Do you know of a good place down here? Kent. I don't know of anyone near Kent that does pressure washing equipment or servicing. Does anyone else in the chat? Can anyone help Apex? I see that you don't reply to your Google reviews. Why is that? That's a good question, Stardust. How much value do you put on that? You're asking me for a reason, and is the reason literally just to thank the customer and show the appreciation to the customer, or is it to show future customers that I'm grateful for reviews, or is it to boost the presence? Does it have some sort of SEO benefit? What's the reason you asked that question? I'm intrigued. Is the plant hire on top of the £700 to £1,000 average on a roof cleaner? Is that all included? Big sniff, big schniff. I can't see what your name is. Is that Big Stiffy? What am I reading here? Either way, I just pulled those numbers out of thin air. Let me think about roof cleaning at the minute. I would say most of our roof cleaning jobs, so minimum charge is around about £750. Most of our roof cleaning jobs fall in at around £995, so we like to keep it under £1,000. So anything that goes over £1,000, like if it's like 1,100 quid or if it's £1,080, for example, I'll just immediately drop that price down to £995 just to get it under the £1,000 threshold, just to give the customer, just so it doesn't shock the customer as much. Most of our roof cleans are between, I'd say, around about £900 and £1,600, I would say. And that includes all access, all chemicals, everything, all plant hire, whatever we need for the job, it's just included. Yeah. And that is, so the full service that we offer for roof cleaning is scraping or pressure washing, and biocide every roof, clear the gutters, and rinse everything down on the outside of the property. We're not officially cleaning the windows. We're not officially doing any fascias and soffit work or anything like that. It's just a rinse. We do try and keep everything wet so that we're not like I said, all that dirt isn't getting baked onto the windows and stuff. If you can pre-wet stuff and then keep it wet throughout the day, you're much less likely to leave all the stains and the marks on the windows. Price guide will only have your competition undercutting you. That is a curious statement, but I can see your point. Stardust has a pricing page on each of our websites. I personally don't have a pricing page on my website. Google likes an active GMB profile replying to reviews helps with this. Google likes an active Google My Business profile replying to reviews helps with this. Okay. Do you think it's too late for me? Do you think it's too late for me to go back into all of my reviews and reply to them all at once? Or if I offload that job onto someone else, like if I pay Soph to go through and respond to all of my reviews, do you think that's a good move, or do you think it's too late? Apparently, interaction on reviews helps SEO. Yes, you should respond to Google reviews. Doing so helps boost your local search ranking. Thank you. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. That's I didn't know that. We learn something new every day. This is why I love this. We can help each other. I love it. Here he is, Matt Onyx. He's back. He's still alive. It's great to see your name in the chat, Matt. I hope everything's okay. I'm sorry I haven't been very good at responding. I think we all have our own stuff to deal with, and unfortunately I don't have as much time as I'd like to respond to everyone's messages. I'm sorry. I'm not a very good friend. Okay. Let's end this end poll. So 83% of you do not have pricing on your website, or you don't think it's a good idea. 17% of you say yes. 24 votes in total. Interesting. Interesting. Who's Matt? Matt is... I think you're joking. You're definitely joking. I think people worry about undercutting far too much. I'm not the cheapest in my area. I have been window cleaning for the last 4 years. Never tried to compete on price on any service I provide. Exactly. I think that comes, Elliot, that comes from an experienced tradesman, businessman, whatever you want to call yourself. And I agree. Focus on your own customers. Stay in your lane. Not necessarily stay in your lane. You do what you want to do, but just focus on you and doing things right for your business. Don't worry about what everyone around you are doing. It's a distraction. Everything going on around you in the industry, everyone else local to you, arguments and fighting and competing, and he said this about you and my last customer did this. It's distractions. Don't worry about it. It doesn't affect you at all. Their customers will probably never be my customers. There might be a slight crossover here and there, but nothing I'm going to lose sleep over. And my customers will probably never be theirs. It is what it is. 100 people could pop up in Redditch tomorrow and start pressure washing, and it would make no difference to me, I promise you. I'm not competing against anyone. I only mention a minimum charge if a customer that a customer that the charge so they feel special. I think I just had a stroke reading that. Ben, how do you price for loads of weeds? The price doesn't change regardless of how dirty the surface is. So because I've got a pricing structure, in my opinion, it makes very little difference to how smoothly or how well the job goes, how much time it takes on site. Maybe on a roof clean when there's like tons of moss, it might make a slight difference. Generally, with exterior cleaning, a dirty surface is a dirty surface. We're going to use the same process regardless. And I always tell the customer pre-treat the surface with weed killer anyway, so it shouldn't really make too much of a difference. We got to the part where the van died, so it couldn't get much worse than that. Yeah. Do you do much roof scraping or do you wash instead? I wish we'd have washed the one that we did today. Let me put it in the Discord so that you guys can see. I scraped a roof today, and I wish I'd have just took the power pole. We didn't have the power pole in the van, and I wish I'd have had it with me, because it would have been so much quicker. We probably spent an hour and a half scraping this roof and clearing the gutters when we probably could have pressure washed it within half an hour. Where's the roof cleaning section in the Discord? I've got it. Everyone stop looking. I've got it. I found it. You can stop looking. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Evening, Finchy. How you doing, matey? What type of high mud poles and size is best? I don't use a high mud pole. I'm not the person to ask about poles. I've got a Clean Link pole and a Gardner pole and a Gutter Vacuum Systems pole, and I think they're all decent. I don't think there's a huge difference. High mud poles apparently are like super light, super stiff. If anyone's got any feedback on best poles for A1 cleaning, A1 clean for you, that'd be great. I have been told by a number of customers that I was not the cheapest, but they chose me because they were more confident in the way I present myself. There you go, Daz. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's all in the presentation. It's all in the sell. It's all in the proof. It's all in the pudding. Are your prices different for commercial work? Sometimes. Sometimes you want to put a little bit of bunts on to account for anything that might go wrong. With commercial stuff, the scale is always a little bit bigger. Some people are inclined to drop the price because the area is bigger. You think, oh, if I'm charging £5 a square metre, anything over £1 or 200 square metres, I might charge £4.50 or £4, for example. I think over the years, I'm not set on this opinion just yet, but over the years, what I've realised is in commercial work, sometimes things go wrong, and at a commercial scale, if something goes wrong, chances are it's going to cost you a lot of time or a lot of money. And so I think it's best to err on the side of caution and charge that little bit more, or keep your price the same rather than bring your price down. That's just my opinion. Where are these pictures? Roof cleaning. Roof cleaning. Maybe that'll come up in a minute. Right, what's number 2? What's number 2 on the list? I haven't got a number 10, so I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued as when we get through the list, I'm intrigued to know if anyone's got something super important they think they should add to the list, to my list. Or maybe someone from like an outside perspective of what you think has been one of the reasons. A set price structure being number 1. Number 2, this could potentially be a controversial subject, because I know a lot of you guys have gone into debt in order to purchase equipment, purchase vans. So number 2 on my list is zero debt. Now, having zero debt has been very important for my business because it's offered me a lot of freedom. Early on in a previous life, I was very accustomed to having debt. So I'd go into debt for all sorts of stuff. Oh, I've just put something in my eye. I'd go into debt for things like cars. I'd go into debt for cameras, drones, tech, computer stuff, games, gadgets, basically. Gadgets and gizmos. I'd be quite happy going into debt and getting stuff on finance. And what I realised is a lot of those things, me and Kieran were talking about this today actually, a lot of those things, a week in or 2 weeks in, I regretted. I didn't necessarily regret the purchase. The novelty of it wore off very quickly. I've got something in my eye. Kieran said something about, I'm sure he won't mind me sharing this, but he bought a motorbike. It was about $3,000. Got a loan for it. It was a while ago. Got a loan for it. The engine blew up within weeks, and it was like $3,000 literally down the pan. And now he's still paying for that. I don't know if he's still paying for it, but he was still paying for it. And it's like, I wish I hadn't have done that. Like, that was quite a reckless way to spend my money. But we both said today that we've realised over the years, going into debt for that sort of thing is not necessarily, you sort of grow out of it, and you realise, especially when you start a business, you realise the importance or the freedom that you get being debt free and owning your stuff outright. Now, the caveat to this is personal debt versus business debt. Huge difference. Business debt, quite often, you'll find that a business purchase is more of an investment because it enables you to make more money. Say, for example, I went into debt to purchase a new van tomorrow, to maybe set up like another gutter clearing, like portion of the business, and we set up a gutter clearing van, hired a new employee, and sent them out on the road gutter clearing. That, although there'd still be a lot of thought behind that purchase, that could potentially be viewed as a very good, wise way to spend money and get yourself into some business debt. When I spoke to my accountant, he actually said to me, where possible, as long as the interest rates are decent, don't use your liquid cash. Don't use all that money you've got sat in the bank and all the money that you've been saving to purchase business assets outright. Instead, use someone else's money. Borrow money at a reasonable rate for those big purchases. I remember when I bought my power pole from Gutter Vacuum Systems, my roof cleaning pole, 760 odd quid. I had the money. I didn't necessarily want to spend it all at once on a piece of roof cleaning kit when I didn't really have much roof cleaning work booked in. I had 2 roof cleans booked in, and I thought this is a good time to buy a roof cleaning pole. I paid for that over 3 months with Klarna. So at the time, I don't think they're doing it anymore. Gutter Vacuum Systems were offering Klarna, so you can pay in 3 months. Spread the payment over 3 months, 0% interest. So it's basically free money, paying 3 portions, and that served me well because over that 3 months, I did 3 or 4 roof cleans, and the pole paid for itself 2 times over within the first roof clean. So that was a wise investment when it comes to debt, I feel like. A lot of people get into the industry thinking, well, I need a van. I need a van mounted machine. I need a gutter vacuum. But I don't have any savings. I don't have any capital behind me. There's nothing I can sell in order to purchase the equipment, but I need the equipment. And so, before they've even started their business, before they've even done a single job, they've got themselves into £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 worth of debt. And immediately, in my opinion, you're putting so much pressure on yourself, and you're already on the back foot, and you've already got to earn a certain amount of money per month just to pay your monthly, minimum payment on your debt. And it's just a hell of a lot of pressure that if you do it a slightly different way, which is the way that I did it, I think it's much easier to do. So the way I did it was I bought a smaller machine. So I had £300-400 saved up from my regular 9 to 5 work. I bought a small machine And within 6 months, I managed to buy a small van. And then within 12 months, I managed to buy an upgraded machine, 15 litre per minute pressure washer. And all this stuff I was buying outright just because I was earning all this extra money from pressure washing. And I wasn't spending it. I wasn't buying nice things for myself. I was just letting it build up, and I was reinvesting it all back into the business. And I think that's a really good way of doing it, especially if you've got other commitments. If you've already got a 9 to 5, if you've got a family and a mortgage and whatever, I think it's great to build this stuff on the side, especially if you're starting from nothing. It's a little bit different if you've got a bit of an investment where you can drop a bit of money into the business and it doesn't really affect you at all. So what I'll say is I'm in a position now, almost 6 years in, and I have zero debt. I owe no money, both personally and through the business. So I don't owe anything, which I feel I'm very proud of myself, and I feel like that is a very powerful position to be in, and it offers me a lot of options that I wouldn't ordinarily have. I feel a lot more free. I feel like I'm not bound by anything, because obviously we've got the monthly expenses that come with running a business, overheads. So I've got my pay, I've got Kieran's pay, and I've got the unit that we've recently started renting, so £850 a month just on the unit. These things I can justify. I don't see these as debt. I see these as investments, and the money I make through the month helps pay that bill at the end of the month. I'm not sort of playing catch up and trying to, you know what I mean? So zero debt, I think, is, for me, this is going to be different for everyone, but for me, it's been a fundamental reason why I feel like I've got options in the business. Buyer's remorse, exactly. So Darren said buyer's remorse with regards to those older purchases of mine where you'd get something on finance and then a week later the novelty wears off and you think, God, I wish I didn't spend that money, or I like what I've got, but now I'm stuck with this, £250 a month that I've got to pay towards the finance or whatever it might be. And there's nothing more rewarding. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. There is nothing more rewarding than, I was saying this to Kieran today, working hard, saving up for something that you've been wanting, and buying it outright. And then Kieran responded with, to be honest, if I'd saved $3,000 to buy that motorbike, I probably wouldn't have bought it. If I was in a position where I had $3,000 sat in the bank and my options were save it or buy a motorbike, he said I probably wouldn't have bought the motorbike. But because it wasn't my money, it was an easier decision. It's like, I want it now, I'm going to have it now. It's impulsive, and it's just one of them things. I think it's something we all grow out of. And I think that earlier, maybe not. Maybe it's not something we all grow out of. I think it's a fundamental thing that's helped my business, though. I started with 26-year-old Ford Ranger that I bought for 750 quid. There you go, Kerno. There you go. Hi, Jake. Question: how is business with the hosepipe ban in the UK, as I'm getting nowhere in West Cork? Hosepipe ban doesn't apply to businesses in the UK, at least. So if your business relies on using water, the hosepipe ban does not apply to you. Jake, are you limited? And if you are, have you been from day one? I'm toying with the idea of switching over. Not limited yet. Discussing it with my accountant shortly. In September, we're going to be discussing it. If you were to start with a small machine now, what would it be? Alex, very good question. A small machine. Depends on my situation. Do I have a van or do I have a car? Can you riddle me this? Do I have a van or a car? Because that will change my decision. And what's my budget? Give me a budget, Alex. Any opinions on debt? I'm keen to get some feedback on this because I thought this would be more controversial than it is. I thought there'd be loads of people in the chat saying, no, business debt's fine, you know, do this. I got a loan for 20 grand and it's paid off, and I thought there'd be loads of pushback. But it seems like all 50 of you agree with me. Oh, I've got a melted Kit Kat that's been re-refrigerated, and now it's melted back together, and now it's starting to melt again. You know, like what they call triple baked potatoes or something. It's like one of them. Stay out of debt as much as possible, says Clive. So I know people that say, if you've got a plan, dive in head first and go full commitment. Fully commit. And if that means getting into debt, that's part of the journey. And I just triple fried chips. Thank you, Clive. That's exactly what I meant. Yeah, I'm just not sure I agree. I think it's a little bit irresponsible. It depends if you've had a business before, I think, also. Which this person did have run their own business before, pressure washing or exterior cleaning. If you're used to how business debt works, and you're used to promoting your services, and you're used to making money on your own, and you're confident you can make it work, they could be wise investments, and you could have a plan, and you could execute that plan. But I just think if it's your first business, I think it's too much of a risk, personally. It ties you down. Alex says a van and £1,250. That's quite a high budget for a pressure washer. That's a decent budget. What would I pick now? Do you know what? What would I pick now? With £1,250 and I've got a van. Let me just look at a couple of options. Let me just have a sticky beak. Why isn't this website working? It's not me. What's happening? Let's just have a look. Mobile pressure washers, 2-wheeled are going to be the cheapest. Can we sort by price low to high? Okay, nothing for that budget on Rutland pumps. Do we have skid mounted? Do we have something small on a skid? Still not hitting that budget. What about CleanLink? CleanLink have got the little carry machines. Sort low to high. Here we go. Here we go. Now we're talking. 1,200 quid budget is a healthy budget. I'd want all the peripherals with it as well. I'd want everything included in the budget. I'm sure PWS do. They do cold, mobile, and then can we go price? Sort by low to high. Something's going on with their website at the minute, I think. Maybe not. Where's all the others? Where's all their alphas and stuff? I think their alphas should be in here. I think they're missing a trick if their alphas aren't on cold water. Oh, electric. I didn't choose electric, did I? Petrol. Maybe I did. Sorry, my mistake. Oh, they are included. There we go. My bad. Price low to high. We're getting there with the Bambinos. I think it would have to be the C2, personally, with the Briggs electric start. What does that come out of? Oh, that's plus VAT. Can we do a 15? Oh, it's plus VAT. It can't be then, can it? What about the Powerhouse? Out of stock. One left in stock. That's plus VAT still, isn't it? This is difficult. You could just go Hyundai. You could do that. That's a good base point, I think. 15 litres per minute Hyundai. CleanLink have got the same machine here as well. That's including VAT. So it's just shy of £1,000 including VAT. This one is just shy of £1,000 including VAT, I think. Is that right? I can't tell. Around about the same price point. I'd probably go for something like that. Or if I need to include like a buffer tank and all the peripherals and stuff, I'd probably see if I could go for like GX160, GX200 with a 15, 12. Very difficult, very difficult. The budget is in between a carry. I think these carries are really good, and you wouldn't need a buffer tank for some of these. Or you go 15 litres per minute, 275 bar. That's probably a really good choice, actually. But also you need to account for your... Oh, it's sold out anyway. You need to account for your buffer tank and, you know, return to tank bypass modifications potentially, which I'm assuming CleanLink could help with. I know PWS could help with that as well. If you wanted to say, like, I'd really like a return to tank bypass on this one, and that would probably still come in under budget. Yeah, that would probably be my choice. For the car, Tracy says for the car, I would 100% go carry frame. One of these little carry pressure washers. So that one's 12 litres per minute. You don't need a buffer tank. You can plug straight into the customer's tap most of the time, I would imagine. And it's lightweight, it's small. What a great way of having like a compact setup in the back of your car. I think that's perfect. I wish I'd have known about these when I first started. 100% agree, says Kerno. We did the same. I was delivering kebabs till 2 AM every day, and I was doing the pressure washing, waging. Saved enough for the van and bought it outright. There you go. I prefer minimum to no debt, both personally and business wise. Normally only get into debt I know I can pay off instantly for credit score, as I cleared my mortgage in 2023 and had no way to keep credit score. That's interesting. So enter into some sort of finance agreement with like low APR or whatever, and then just pay it all off just to help your credit score. That's a good idea. I started, sometimes there's incentives as well, isn't there? There's like cashback. I know the US do a lot of cashback incentives where if you take out this finance policy and keep it for at least 3 months, we'll give you £1,000 cashback. And so you keep the policy for 3 months, get that cashback, and then you pay the rest outright and clear the finance. It's like a free £1,000. I started with a petrol yellow Chinesium 10 litre machine, 10 litre a minute machine. Cost me 260 quid off eBay. Now I've got a 21 litre per minute machine. Just work your way up steady. I think working your way up is good. Yeah. Alex says smart debt structuring is what makes the world go round. More so with limited companies, but be very careful with personal debt for business purposes. Be very careful with personal debt for business purposes. What do you mean by that, Alex? I don't understand that last bit. Steer clear from debt. You're a slave to the lender. I think you're more of a slave to the day-to-day, the mundane. I think it keeps you locked into your position. Thanks for the sub, Swanee. I think debt keeps you where you are, and you can't take risks because you've got commitments with debt. As soon as you can be free of debt, opportunities open up that you didn't have before. Same with savings. You need a certain amount of debt to gain a credit rating for the business, but that can only come from things like van insurance, business insurance paid on direct debit. Yep. Debt is great if you understand it and how to use it properly. Yep. Would pick a JCB over any of those any day. Start first time, every time, most of the time. One of the Alpha Core takes it around 1,250 all in. I think PWS do a starter pack, do they? People always selling stuff on eBay. Make sure they have invoices to see when they bought it and grab a cracking deal with all their gear thrown in. That's a very good point. Yeah, buying. I didn't think about buying used actually. A1 Clean makes a very good point. Keep an eye out on like Facebook Marketplace and eBay and stuff. There's a lot of bargains to be had for second-hand equipment that's been used for like half a season and then people give up and try something new. Try PWSAS. They have a good selection of bespoke setups for you. If you offer me 0%, I'll take that every time. I never buy something I can afford. However, I never buy something I can't afford. However, 0% and with my money in my pocket is always the draw for me. Yeah, if it's like Klarna, isn't it? If you get offered 0%, it'd be sort of silly not to take it. Some of the Argos stuff, you can get like an Argos 0% card, I think. I can't remember. So did it on something a while back. I can't remember. TV maybe? I can't remember. I'd say you're only a slave to the lender if you don't use the debt right, low APR, or if you're living beyond your means. Yeah, that's a big one, living beyond your means. People sometimes don't account for it in their monthly expenditure, which can be a thing. Right, zero debt, not as controversial as I expected, but okay, let's move on to the next one. Number 3 on the list. Number 3 on the list is... metal, free agent, pots. I think I need to make this smaller. Can you guys still see that okay? If I have that there. Is that okay? So, the reason I like metal... Let me start with free agent. So, with a metal bank account... A metal business account, which is actually becoming a little bit harder to apply for at the minute. I think my brother's metal account took, so he went off my recommendation and I said like, I love this, it's very powerful, it's very convenient, you should get one for your business. And he applied for one and I'm sure it took him, let me ring him, it's best coming from his mouth. Hello, brother.
Yes.
Yeah, just a quick one. Just streaming at the minute, and we're talking about the metal bank account. How long did it take yours to, from when you applied for yours, how long did it take, and why did it take so long?
It took about 2 or 3 months because they wanted loads of proof of that I was trading legally. And just basically, because it was waste management, they were really funny about it.
What did they ask you for with proof?
They asked me for scrap licenses, because they said they literally scoured my website to see what I did, basically. And they asked me for scrap licenses. They asked me for copies of invoices, just to make sure I was doing everything legitimately. That's for loads of stuff. That's public liability insurance, literally everything. Everything that you can think of.
In the beginning, it was just taking a while with no communication, and then suddenly they started asking you for loads of stuff.
Yeah, well, they kept on coming back like a week later, with more and more stuff basically
I
that
wonder
they
if
wanted to see.
I wonder if that's mainly because you're in waste management, and if someone else was to apply today, would it take so long? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they just do all their checks because it's waste management and because it was scrap metal as well.
Yeah.
I think they might have just been a little bit worried about it. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Would you recommend it? Metal and Free Agent.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's really good.
All right.
Highly recommend. I really like it, and I like sending the invoices and stuff from it. So.
And you can keep track of whether people have paid or not without even checking the bank.
Yeah, it's just an easy process.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries.
Goodbye.
In a bit.
So, the reason I like Free Agent, the reason I like the Metal bank account to begin with is because it comes with a free CRM and invoicing software. So, Matt from the Discord recommended this to me. Matt is our admin in the Discord, and he said, you've got to get on Metal, you've got to get on Free Agent, absolutely free, and it's so powerful. And I'm so glad that I listened to him, because up until a year ago, probably it's about a year ago to this date, like a year ago in August it was, so a year ago next month, I hadn't been invoicing any of my customers. So almost 5 years into business, I hadn't invoiced any of my customers unless it was commercial work. And there's a few pros and cons to it, I suppose. I mean, it's a time saver not having to produce invoices. It's potentially not very professional. And then as soon as you land your first commercial job, it's like, okay, I've got to figure out how to send an invoice. And there's stuff missing off it, and they come back to you, and it's embarrassing because you've missed something very basic off the invoice that they expect on all their invoices. And so I think the sooner you can get into creating written quotes, clear written quotes with clear terms on them, and sending invoices, the better. And Free Agent, this isn't an advert, by the way, I'm not sponsored by Metal or Free Agent, but Free Agent facilitates that. And also it keeps track of whether people have paid you. So with mine, if I send an invoice out for 600 quid and the next day I get paid 600 quid, I mark it as sent, and it automatically matches those transactions up, which is really nice. So I can see, all I have to do is click on my outstanding invoices and I can see who's yet to pay me. A big list of people. Okay, I've got $2,000 sat there waiting to come in because 4 people haven't paid me yet. And that's really nice to know as well. The other thing, it keeps track of all your customers. So you can, any CRM will have this feature where you can create customer profiles. You can see previous work you've done for that customer, so you can see what you charged them last time. You can build a customer profile, so you've got their name, email address, address, and previous quotes, previous invoices, whether they've paid a deposit, all that sort of stuff, which I think is really, really beneficial. And the main reason I like the Metal account, which I couldn't do with my Virgin Money account. I had a Virgin Money business account when I first started, and the main reason I prefer the Metal account over the Virgin Money is because of the pots feature. So now I've got my main account that's got all my money in from the income from the business, and then I've got, it splits off and it branches out into all these custom pots that I've made. And you can make it so that if I get paid £1,000 from a customer, automatically it'll pull 20% of that and put it into my custom tax pot, and then it'll pull 5% and put it into my maintenance pot, and it'll pull another 5% and put it into my savings pot. And so without even looking, without transferring anything, without moving money at all, I'm gradually building up these pots, and things are now taken care of, and I am well ahead with regards to my tax. So I'm in an incredibly strong position for, like, my tax for the entirety of 2025, 2026 is there, sat in a pot. I've got more than enough. I don't need to pay it until the end of January 2027. But it's just sat there. 20% of all of my income, which is way more than I actually need. I'll probably only end up paying, because of my expenses haven't come off it and everything yet, I'll probably only end up paying 12% after all said and done. Maybe. I haven't worked that out yet, but it's just sat there and I'm ahead. And I've already started saving for this tax year as well. So I've got a big pot piling up already. I've got a huge pot from last year just sat there waiting to be paid for tax, and I'm probably only going to use half of it to actually pay my tax, and so I'll get like a nice, it's not even a rebate because I'll just be sending less than what I've saved to HMRC. And then this year, because I've been putting 20% into a separate pot since April, I'm already well ahead of where I need to be for January 28 next year. It's such a strong position to be in, because now I've got options. If I need to reallocate some of that money into a breakdown or a business asset, or the van needs replacing or anything like that, I've got a pile of money sat there where I think, I'll double check with my accountant and say, can I spend this money? Yeah, absolutely no problem. And you're gonna make that twofold in the next couple of months anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's nice to have it there. And obviously you've got your other pots with maintenance, savings, all that sort of stuff. Pots they tick over in the background, and they gradually build in the background, and it's almost like you've got multiple sources of income. You haven't, it's just the one bank account, but you've got these multiple strands of money just sat there. And if you combine your pots with your lack of debt, it's freedom is all I can say. It's freedom. And I would thoroughly advise, I'd never be in this position if it wasn't for Matt last year telling me about these pots, because I've been it's the one thing that's been missing. I think I don't want to open another business account just so I can transfer savings into another business account. Honestly, now that I've got pots, it's changed my life. If I was wearing my Game Changer t-shirt, I'd say it out loud. What would you say is so good with metal? I think I've just explained that. Too many scammers in that industry. Yeah, I think the scrap metal and the waste management industry, there's a lot of dodgy people there. Probably more so than pressure washing. Monzo do a brilliant business account with pots that take set amounts for tax, VAT, etc., and it's linked to our accountant for staff payroll. Nice. Yeah, so what I forgot to mention was Metal links to your free agent, and it cross-references all the outgoings, it cross-references your expenses, your receipts, income, and it just sort of, it tots everything up, and it sort of ticks away in the background, and it's very, very convenient. And the sooner you can get into the habit of like 5%, you won't notice 5% going out of your turnover and just dropping into a little savings pot. You won't notice it. But by the end of the year, you could have 3, 6, 9 grand sat in this savings pot that's just been trickling out of your main bank account into this pot that you never missed. You hadn't even seen it going out. I just think it's brilliant. Anyway, Curbside Exterior Cleaning says, I love the Metal account as you can set a pay date, and on that date it sends you a notification reminder that it's due. Nice. So why is he not talking about Monzo? I haven't got a Monzo account, that's why. Squeegee app generates all of my quotes and invoices for the customer as soon as I complete the job. Fantastic, powerful, infinite capacity planner. Yeah, I like the idea of having a planner built in as well. My planner is Outlook. So I just got an Outlook calendar, Outlook email. That's the way I do my planning. Clive, does Squeegee link to your Monzo account? Does it like cross-reference when stuff's been paid, and does it keep track of your like when you buy fuel? Does Squeegee say where's the receipt for this fuel purchase? You know what I mean? Starling is similar, is it? I'm going to bounce onto Metal. Just checked, and it's free. I get charged with my bank at NatWest. Yeah, totally free. Yeah, I haven't paid a single. The only thing I'm paying with Free Agent at the minute is to the facility of being able to scan receipts, and it auto inputs all the data, which again, very powerful. It's only £5 a month. Instead of having to type out all the information from your receipts to document everything and take a picture, all you do is take a picture of the receipt, it auto populates all the information, and then you screw that receipt up and put it in the bin, and it's saved onto your account. I have a pot for tax, my accountant, upgrades, and one for insurance. I've got one for last year's tax, this year's tax, which obviously last year's I'm not paying into anymore, but last year's tax, this year's tax, maintenance, and savings. It's a capacity planner. I scan all receipts on my phone straight into Sage. So you've got Sage as well. Sage is a accounting software, isn't it? So you've got Sage, Squeegee, Monzo. I need a wee. I'll be back in just a sec. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to get on to number 4 in a second. Go and make yourself a drink. Get cozy. Get comfy. We've got some good ones coming up. And I'm going to see if you agree with... Got some... Yeah. Back in a sec. I wish I could just like... I need to play a little advert now, don't I? About becoming a member. Need a members advert. Okay, we have payroll, so we have to use it. Oh, Sage. Yeah, understood. I think we've got a BrightPay portal through our accountants. So our accountant deals with all of the payroll. We pay our accountant £50 a month per member of staff to deal with the payroll, which I think is okay. They deal with all the tax, they deal with the pension contributions, all that sort of stuff. So I think that's a decent investment. Okay, number 4. I think we've covered Metal, Free Agent, pots. I think the sooner you can get into the habit of invoicing all your customers, the better. I think having processes, someone said it in the chat earlier, but I think I might have skipped past it. Having processes. Someone said, I think it might have been Alex that said about processes. Now, number 4. Do we do number 4? A great team. Now, some people, I know other people in the exterior cleaning space, they are, unfortunately, I've been there myself in other jobs, other roles. You are often treated as a number. Unfortunately, you're treated as a replaceable entity within the business. And as soon as a member of staff feels like they're replaceable, if they are replaceable in the first place, that's probably a red flag. what I've learned through a little bit of trial and error is that employing good talent, good people who have got the business interests at heart, reliable, consistent, perform well, polite, well presented, can talk to your staff, can represent your business well. These often aren't things that you can get from a minimum wage member of staff. When I employed Jakey for the first time, he wasn't on minimum wage. He was getting paid a decent whack for the role and for his age. Now he would be on, if he was still with us, he would be on a significantly higher wage, because after employing Kieran, it sort of made me realise that investing in your team is so important, and showing them that you value them and that they're not just a number, that you're investing a lot of time, effort, training, even things like uniform, equipment, PPE, all that sort of stuff. If you're in the position where you have to invest all that sort of stuff into your member of staff, you want to make sure they're the right person from day one. And a lot of people are very scared to. You see it in all sorts of jobs and all sorts of industries. I'm sure a lot of us in the past have had jobs where you think, why is that person still here? How have they not been sacked yet? How are they still scraping a wage from this job? They are rubbish. They don't represent the business well. They barely do any work. Like, there's a lot of jobs where I've been in where I've thought, they need to be more like, I'm picking up other people's slack. They need to be hotter on the hiring and firing. Else you end up building an average team, or a team that's actually going to drag you down and make you work harder. You want someone that's going to lift you and elevate you, not cause you problems. And so I think investing in a good team from day one and actually rewarding them adequately for the job, for the work that you're asking them to do, is super important. And I would rather pay more for a talented, hardworking, reliable member of staff than pay less for someone that's going to cause me issues any day of the week. I've only employed 3 people so far. I mean, I've had other people come work for me. I've had my brother, I've had Rich and Jakey and Hugo and Kieran come work with me. So I've had a decent experience in having other people come and work for me. I've only officially employed 3 people. One of them didn't work out, and I was very relieved when I made the decision that this was not going to work, and I'm going to have to let you go, and I'm going to look for someone else. Because I could have gone down this path of feeling like I'm stuck with this person that isn't necessarily performing and isn't a good fit for the business, but I'm too worried about having that hard conversation with them. And I'm so grateful that I didn't just let it go, because I'd still be dealing with issues today, and it would still cause me mental stress and bandwidth today. So I think a lesson for myself is hiring good people and making them feel valued. Little things like Jakey and Kieran have never had to pay for a meal, for lunch. So every single day that they've come into work, they've had lunch covered. And I think that's a nice little incentive, just to show that I appreciate the work that they do. I appreciate them being reliable. And I think we spent well over $3,000 on just food last year. And that's fine. I think it was $3,000 to $5,000. I can't remember what it was exactly, because it was mixed in with a few other bits, but that's absolutely worth it for me as a little bonus incentive to let them know that I'm grateful. You know what I mean? And I think having that, having the discipline to just cut it off early when you realise it's not going to work, or this person isn't quite right. I think my mistake was probably not doing a proper interview process and only doing one work trial. I think if I was to do it again, if I do decide to employ someone else in the future, I'll be doing a proper interview, in-person interview, rather than going through like just a general recommendation. I'd be doing a proper interview, and I would be doing multiple work trials, doing different types of work. And then if there's any red flags in the work trial, it's sorry, it's not going to work. We're going to go with someone else. And I think if you can entice people with a high enough wage, because I think this job is a very physically demanding job. Not only pressure washing, but also the things like the roof cleaning, the gutter clearing and stuff. Gutter clearing, for me when I first started, for Jakey when he first started, and for Rich, and for my brother, and for Kieran, even Kieran, they're all big lads. All of them were taken off guard when it came to doing the gutter clearing for the first time. So holding the poles up in the air and, you know, doing this all morning, it's cumbersome, it's awkward, it feels weird when you do it for the first time. It's muscles that you haven't used before. It's just like, it's a bit of a shock to the system, thinking, oh my god, is this what this job's like? I don't think I could do this every day. And then obviously after a couple of days of doing it, you develop a little bit of a technique and it becomes a lot easier. But this is not easy work. It's very physically demanding work, and you've got to have that level of precision and care as well. And so I think if you get the wrong person from the get-go, you're potentially going to go down this path that isn't going to reward you in the future. The time that you're going to spend training and developing and trying to work on this person that isn't quite a good fit, and isn't a very good fit in the first place, and they're going to develop these bad habits, and they're potentially going to bring other people on the team down. You want people eventually to be able to have the ability to go out and work independently. And if they're not a good fit from the beginning, I think it's important to just make those decisions early on, hire and fire quickly, and just iterate and just keep. I'm still doing a full-time as well as exterior cleaning, and my place is full of people that just drag you down by their mood. Yep, 100%. I've realised that when you give constantly and it's a habit, people are less thankful and less appreciative, and it becomes expected. Very true, Tracy, very true. Let me think about that one. I think I'm not trying to brag or blow my own trumpet or anything like that, but I'm quite a generous person, and as soon as I realise someone is taking advantage of my generosity, or it does become expected, mistaking my kindness for weakness, as soon as that happens, I will cut any kind of generosity that I was given in that direction. I'll cut that entirely. Sometimes even cut that relationship off altogether. Yeah, you got to be very careful, because, like you say, if you're that you see it with rich people all the time, where their families start expecting money from them. They'll start dropping them texts saying like, I need $6,000 for this. Can you send it me this morning? And it's like, hang on, you weren't asking me for this when I was broke. Like, why do you suddenly need it now? And it just becomes expected. Not even just money, just time as well. People taking advantage of your time. The other thing is when you get a van as well. That's another thing. When you get a van, everyone wants you to come and help them with something because you've got a van. It's like, hang on. Yeah. A great team, I think, is incredibly important, especially in this industry. If you are planning on expanding, even having a second-hand man, not a side piece. A right hand man. A second hand. It's not a side piece, is it? That's something different. Even having someone else that you can rely on, just one person in the business. Like for me, I found having Kieran involved in the business has been right hand man. Thank you. Has been even though the position I'm paying him for, the cost to acquire him, the cost to pull him away from his previous employment to come and work with me, to match that wage, which was way more than what the role required, but I wanted him, and it was one of those investments where you just think, I'm so glad I did that. And yes, it's costing me a little bit more, but it's absolutely worth it. I could have just got another labourer. Not to say Jakey was just another labourer, but I could have just got another Jakey that I was paying just a labourer's wage. But that wasn't really going to elevate the business in any way. And I think also mulling over these decisions for a long time. This goes for debt as well. This goes for like purchases, like business assets, big purchases, hiring people. I think it's good to be indecisive. Although you do see a lot of like the cost of indecision is like greater than the cost of failure. I'm one of those indecisive people that sits on a decision and thinks about it for months and months before I actually pull the trigger. And sometimes that can cause me to actually talk myself out of a decision altogether, which could be to my detriment. But I was talking to Rich about it the other day. I don't think he'll mind me mentioning it, but Rich is in this precarious position where work is steady, and he thinks, potentially employing someone else could elevate the business and get through work quicker. And it's just a nervous time where you're on that teetering edge of, I can afford someone, but is it the right decision for the business? And will I still be able to afford them in winter when the work dries up? And it's all these questions that you don't know the answer to until you pull the trigger and do it. The cost of not making that decision could be genuinely costing you money. It's costing you time and money, and the trajectory of the business. When you're not making that decision, the business is sort of gradually going up like this. But as soon as you make that decision, you could have incremental gains earlier on, and you're actually costing the business money by holding out on that decision. And you could also be setting yourself back years by not making that decision early on. If I'd have known employing Jakey 2 years ago if I'd have known what it would do to the business, I would have made that decision way sooner. Even if I weren't confident that I can afford him, if I'd have known how much it would have elevated the business that quickly, I'd have made that decision. But you don't know until you do it. It's a very strange time. On that note, is a Ford Custom too small for a pressure washer, gutter vacuum, and a scaffold tower? No, like a mid-sized van like that, like a Transit or a Renault Traffic. I've seen people get all of that equipment into a van. It's very tight. It is very tight. Rule of thumb at the minute, what I would suggest is buy the biggest van that you can afford. Genuinely. Even my Sprinter at the minute, I've got a H2 L2 Sprinter. Occasionally I feel like I could do with more room, even in that now. You'll outgrow it very quickly. You'd wish you'd got bigger, even if it means saving for another 6 months to get the van you actually want. That would be my recommendation. I can't imagine taking anyone on, teaching them everything, and them not thinking, hey, I can do this on my own and earn 3 times the amount. I want to take someone on and this stops me. Where is that line of you making good profit from taking someone and paying them enough to keep them? That's a good question, Tracy, and I think that's a mindset. That is a mindset that will hold people back. Is, well, if I teach them everything, they're just going to go and start their own business. Trust me, in the 95% of people, 90% of people aren't interested in starting their own business. Most people want an easy life, and an easy life doesn't involve starting your own business. It involves going to work every day, doing what's required, and coming home and not thinking about it and just getting paid at the end of the month. A steady wage, guaranteed income, that is what most people want. Most people are not entrepreneurial, and so the fear that you're going to train someone up and they're going to go and start their own business in 6 months' time, I think it's an irrational fear, and I don't think it happens as often as people like to say. I don't know any real life practical examples where someone's told me that's actually happened. It seems like a lot of hearsay and a lot of sort of scaremongering and a lot of gatekeeping, when actually it could, employing someone and taking that risk. Yes, Jakey could have gone and started his own business. He absolutely could have. You could, you might end up. I could have ended up competing with Jakey, but really, in the grand scheme of things, he's not the sort of person that necessarily wanted his own business at the time. He was talking about setting one up in Australia and stuff, which I have no fear. If Jakey wanted to come back and start his own business, I would absolutely support him. I'd want to see him do well. Yes, there's always that risk, but if that's something that's holding your business back, I think that's a poor excuse, personally. If you're gonna set your business on the back foot, I think it's a bad reason to do so. Where's that line of making good profit from taking someone on and paying them enough to keep them? I think it's can I afford this person? Can I pay them? I think up to, if you want to pay someone well to come and do 35 to 40 hours a week, I think you want to account for at least $2,000 a month, which, if they're over the age of 20 or 21, I think you need to pay their pension. You need to contribute towards their pension. You need to pay their tax towards HMRC, and just general expenses of having an employee. Cost of breakages, like stuff gets damaged, stuff gets broken that probably wouldn't have got broken if you were doing it yourself. Callbacks, occasional callbacks to properties, costing you time and money. I think if you can account for at least $2,000 in the business every month. So yeah, you want to be at a point where your business is profitable by at least $2,000 a month. And even if you're not at that point, say you're only at £1,000 a month that you've got left over at the end of every month, but you're busy and the work is coming in, but you're booking work 2 months in advance because you can't fit it in, I think that's a very safe time to want to employ someone. Because if you've got an extra person with you, instead of having to book 2 months in advance, you can bring all that work forward and just book a month in advance, because you're getting through twice as much work every day. And it is often legitimately twice as much work that you can get through. I did a driveway by myself the other day. I did a little piddly driveway by myself. Where's those pictures? I'll put the pic. Oh, it said they didn't send. Failed to send. Retry. I did a driveway by myself today for the first time in ages, and it took me so long. It was a shock. I was thinking, why am I still cleaning this driveway? So this is the driveway. This is the Discord, by the way. You guys should get involved. So me and Kieran scraped this little garage roof today. And I also cleaned this driveway, very weedy driveway. So while Kieran was scraping the backside, I made a start on pressure washing the front. And turned out well. Turned out perfect. But it took me so long because I got used to us having two machines, two turbo nozzles, two rinse down lances, one person packing up while the other person's doing the chemical treatment. Like, it literally took me twice as long, and I felt like I was dragging my feet. I felt like I was pissing about. I wasn't. I was just getting the work done, but it just took me so long compared to how it would have. There was no issues. Water pressure was great. Drainage was fine. We had a bit of an issue with the flood down by the drain, but a little toad jumped out of the drain. No issues. It was fine, but it just took me ages compared to what the time I would normally expect it to take us. So it's just a bit of a weird one. So employing someone else 100% will speed the work up. I have a custom transit long wheelbase. It could be tricky to get a 6 meter tower in along with the back and all my kit, but it is possible. I mean, a Vivaro definitely feels cramped. Scarcity mindset. If they do, that's cool. And if you can help each other from time to time. Yeah. It's not like they immediately become your competition. It becomes a network then, and you can help each other out. And they'll probably be offering slightly different services to you, and so you can sort of bounce off each other. And yeah. Work has been slow this month. Just got to keep at it and a positive head. Yeah, 100%. It's slowed for us as well. Yeah, there's definitely been less inquiries over the last couple of weeks. 100%. Right, number 5 on the list. We've got a great team, which I think is very important. And this is something I'm going to be carrying on. This is going to be a core part of the business, is make sure we keep employing great people. If we ever do expand, we're going in a slightly different direction now with who we're employing. I'm in talks with someone. I'm going to have a meeting with them tomorrow, and I think that's going to be very positive for the business. But first things first is, are they talented? Are they reliable? Are they good at what they do? Yeah. Right. Number 5. I can't believe we're only on number 5. We've been going for 2 hours. I need to speed this up. I need to stop chit-chatting. Number 5 is proof. Proof that you can get the result, proof that you can do a good job, reviews, photos, videos, before the customer has even reached out in the first place. I think something that has massively helped me gain trust and reputation is showing that I can achieve a good result without the customer having to ask me. Showing all the work that I do, showing all the different services that I offer, all the different options. I asked someone the other day, I asked about oil stains on tarmac, and I said, have you seen our tarmac restoration? Yes, I have. I noticed that, but he said that the neighbour's not going to pay for it, so it's a shared drive. We're probably not interested in it. But they'd already seen the footage, they'd already seen the content, they already know it existed, and so before I've even had to sell my service, they already know what I offer. And I think that's a very important part of it. It's not just when you're advertising to people, it's not just saying it and saying we offer this, this and this, we're the best in Redditch, we can do this for you, guarantees, all of our customers are happy. Instead of talking about it, why don't you just show it instead? If you can show it in proof with photos, videos and reviews. Am I missing anything there? Photos, videos, reviews. What other proof can someone have that they do a good job? Maybe you could boast about your training, your online training, your certificates, stickers on your van to say that you're qualified or certified to do certain work. Am I missing anything? Photos, videos, reviews, licenses and certificates. What else can we put for proof? You want to show the customer as much up front without them having to ask questions as possible, I think. And that also comes from recommendations as well. I don't need to go out and sell my service to a customer that's been recommended to me by a previous client. So we're going over Dave Squeaky Clean Dave's way on Friday over near Stourport. I think he's Kidderminster. I think we're going to Stourport. And that came off the back of one of our customers in Redditch recommended us to one of her colleagues, and they didn't come with any questions. They didn't bat an eyelid at the quote. I didn't need to do the hard sell, nothing like that, because they already had the proof that I could achieve the result that they wanted, because they had a recommendation from a friend. So I think proof is a core foundation of everything we do. I suck at the creative part, especially before and afters, relying a lot on AI, and it always messes up. I've got to improve that. The creative part. What do you mean you suck at before and afters? How can you suck at before and afters? I don't understand. I'll give you a tip for before and after pictures, and it's the only tip that I think is relevant. It's super easy. Let me show you what I do. See these pictures? I just aim to take them from the same angle, stood in the same spot, referencing the same points on the property. So this one, slightly different angle, granted, but top of the garage, bottom of the drive. Top of the garage, bottom of the drive. Yes, I'm a little bit out, but it's close enough. The next picture, we are referencing this corner here and all these dry patches. And again, I'm referencing exactly the same corner. Like it's just referencing points on the property where you can get that good before and after picture, and that's all it is. Just take stuff from the same angle. Well, that one's not a great example, but this one, for example, I'm about halfway up the garage door and I'm getting the bottom of the driveway in the shot. So about halfway up the garage door, getting the bottom of the driveway in the shot. It's as simple as that. It's not a difficult concept. But it makes all the difference. If you take your top of the garage, bottom of the drive, top of the garage, bottom of the drive, if you take all your before and after pictures from the same spot, and ideally make sure the surface is wet on the after photo, so if you can wet down the surface or at least dampen it down so that all the colours pop, I think you're on for a winner with your before and after pictures. So same with this one, before, bottom of the patio, top of the door, bottom of the patio, top of the door. The results weren't great on this patio. I was in two minds whether to actually post this one or not because the black spots were so bad. And obviously someone called me out on the black spots as well, which is fine, whatever. But yeah, look at that. Almost exactly the same position from that before and after photo. It's just lining it up on the property. And obviously that after photo, everything's wet, everything's damp, so that the colours pop. It's not actually that impressive, that photo, but maybe that one's a bit better. Simple, easy, proof that we do a good job. Been a great stream. I'm genuinely grateful for all of the info, and I'll definitely be back in the future. Peace. A1 Clean, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you. Wrong angles, not capturing all the actual transformation, or forgetting to take them in general. I understand. Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to remember to take them before you start the work. I do understand. Yeah, I don't think it's even a skill. It's just getting into the habit of actually doing it and having a bit of a process. Like these pictures aren't random. They're precisely in the same spot every time. And another thing you could do, another thing I often do is I have my don't know if you can see my screen here. So I'll have my Photos app open. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's a driveway there. I have my Photos app open, and then also I'll have my camera app open. And so I can switch between apps, and I'm moving my camera around. and I'm switching between photo and that one and the camera app, and then I'm taking the photo, and then I'm switching back to the next one, and I'm going to the next photo, and I'm going back to my camera app, and I'm lining that up there. I'm constantly cross-referencing the previous photo. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's what I've started doing, and it really helps. Really helps. Everyone's paying me today, which is nice. Just before payday. Get that cash in. Right, number 6 on the list. Let's have a sticky beak. Consistency. Now, this one was generally to do with my marketing approach, and someone mentioned something on stream last week, which I kind of pushed back at them a little bit, where they were saying Facebook ads weren't really working for me. Facebook ads have dropped off; they're not really working very well for me. Should I try Google Ads? I was thinking at the time, so I pushed back and said, look, plenty of people use Facebook ads with great success. If Facebook ads aren't working for you, it's because you haven't cracked them. It's not because Facebook ads are broke. Same with Google ads. People are spending £150,000 a day on Google ads, some of these big businesses. There's a reason for that. It's because it works. And you can't say it's not very good, it's not working, should I try something else, just because you haven't cracked it. So in my opinion, doing something consistently and actually investing in whatever form of marketing or advertising that you decide to do, in my business, the consistency that I've had through marketing on Instagram, Facebook, and doing all the reels and videos on YouTube, whatever, this live stream, so everything that I've done consistently has really worked out for me. And I haven't tried to do leaflets necessarily. I haven't tried to do Google ads necessarily. I haven't really invested a hell of a lot of time or effort into my website. My van sign writing's not very good. But the social media, because that's the one thing I've stuck to and been consistent with, is the thing that's paid off for me. And I think that's hugely important for the success of my business in particular, is because I've chosen a path and I've done it consistently. I don't think you can choose multiple paths and do them all really well and do them all consistently and keep up with everything at the same time. So I think it's a good idea to choose one or two options, especially with regards to your marketing, and just do them really well and just be very consistent with them. And if you don't figure it out the first time or the second time or the third time, keep failing and keep iterating and learning until you find something that really starts to work. Because leaflets, some people's entire businesses have been built off the back of leaflets, door knocking, canvassing, all that sort of stuff. It's possible. It's just you might not have cracked it yet. You've got to figure out ways of setting yourself apart from the competition as well. So if that means doing something slightly different, thinking outside the box, then maybe think about that. In Wales, there's a few grants for businesses. If you employ someone who's been out of work, they pay the wages, and a few other grants for equipment. That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, consistency has been a big one for me. The only things that I've done consistently are the only things that have ever worked out for me. With goals and stuff, building towards goals. If you're not consistent with anything, if you're not consistent with going to the gym, if you're not consistent with saving, if you're not consistent with marketing, business, training, diets, there's all sorts of stuff that you don't see the end result unless you're consistent. You can't do a bit this week and not do anything next week and then do a bit the week after and expect to see compounding results. Compounding and the snowball effect, it doesn't work like that. It requires little and often, something every single day that points you towards the end goal. Consistency. And if you want to learn a little bit more about consistency, setting goals, developing good habits, I'd recommend the book, the audio book that absolutely changed my life. There was two. The number one thing that changed my life was The Compound Effect. There's an audio book called The Compound Effect. And that is literally the thing that made me start my business and made me see it through to this point today. And the other book was The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, both by the same author. And you can literally download a free Audible account for 30 days and listen to both books for free. So I recommend that you do that if you want to be fully inspired and if you want to have your life changed for the better. Number 7. Authenticity. Now, this is something that is becoming very difficult to come by in 2026, I think. Especially with, not just because of AI, but also in business in general. People change. When you start a business, quite often the thing that people want to do is try to appear more professional and appear something that they're not, in order to sell something to potential customers. And I think that's a bad move in general for any business. Unless you're a huge corporate entity, you obviously don't necessarily want to try and build relationships based on your personality. I think it's got to be a more global company image. But on a smaller scale, service-based businesses like ours, I think authenticity counts for a lot. If you look at someone like Cedars, who films virtually everything he does, and who he is on camera is who he is in real life, you get to know the person behind the business. And I think that's helped me as well in our work, is that I'm not hiding behind a logo, I'm not hiding behind marketing, I'm not hiding behind any sort of professional spiel. There's no pitch, you know what I mean? It's all just, this is what we do. Enjoy. Let me know what you think. Or come along with us for the journey. It's not corporate bollocks. I'm not trying to dress anything up with fancy wording or anything like that. Everything that you see in my posts, in my videos, it's actually how I talk. And the person that I am on camera is the person that I am when I turn up to the customer's house. I think I'm going to say authenticity and what's that word I'm looking for? Integrity. These are two separate things, but I think they go hand in hand. Again, being that person that people expect you to be. If something goes wrong, own the mistake and fix it. Obviously, not all things that go wrong are your fault, and it's up to you to sort of present it to the customer in a certain way where it's like, this didn't go to plan, this was unexpected, nothing to do with us. It's just that's how it was, and let's see how we can figure out and fix it. It's not necessarily changing the price of things just because something's been unexpected, but it's just communicating with the customer and standing your ground when things go wrong, but also being fair when it's your time to fix something. Yeah, honesty as well. Yeah, authenticity, integrity, and honesty. It's being that person people hope that you are when they see you online, basically. And I think, with AI, just touching on AI again. Let me just find some music. Hang on. Just touching on AI again. I think this will be the thing, being authentic in 2026, 27. I think this will be the number one factor that are going to set businesses apart. You know, there's so many, we get so many messages from people saying things like, I've noticed you don't have a website. here's my services. Like people DM me on Instagram saying, hi Jake, I've noticed you don't have a website. Are you interested in me doing this for you? And I'm like, you haven't even tried. So you've entered this relationship with a lie, because you haven't Googled, but you could have literally just type in Smelts pressure washing and the website comes up instantly. There's no effort whatsoever. It's a generic message that they've sent to hundreds of people. Totally inauthentic. Zero effort required on their end. We get emails like it all the time saying that SEO on your website is poor. And out of the blue, someone called Russell messaged me. I think he emailed me in the end. He says, "Hi Jake, I'm not asking for your money. I'm not necessarily asking for your time. I just want to say I watch the live streams. I appreciate the work that you do, helping other people start their businesses and stuff. Just wanted to let you know, I'm really good at websites, building websites, SEO, all that sort of stuff. I'd love to work with you and help you out with your website. I've noticed that there's things that can be improved, so this is what I'm really passionate about." That's the sort of person I respond to, and he ended up creating my website for me, my new website, and optimizing it with regards to the SEO. And it's like the first and only person that comes through with honesty and integrity and offering actual value, rather than just trying to sell me something as quick as possible, hoping that I'll fall for their generic mass email. The first person that comes to me with a bit of honesty is the person that I interact with. And that's not some sort of mistake or coincidence. It's because people can spot it a mile off. And I think this is going to be there's a mistake that I think a lot of people are making, where AI is going to help facilitate all this stuff. And do you think, as a if you put yourself in the customer's shoes, do you think an AI agent is right for your business? Let me ask this question in chat. Do you think an AI agent could an AI agent elevate your customer experience? As a customer, if I get put through to some sort of AI agent, or if I know that I'm talking to AI, I think I'm immediately put off in general. I might even stop dealing with that business altogether, because I'm not getting a genuine response. I don't expect necessarily to get in touch with the exact person that I need to get in touch with, but if I'm not having a conversation with an actual human, and I'm having to go through this automated process that isn't actually designed for me, it's designed for the business owner to make their life easier, that's a massive off-put for me as a customer from the very beginning. I don't think that's offering the customer value. I think that's trying to give the business owner more convenience. I don't think it's going to work. I know Tintins was experimenting with a WhatsApp AI agent recently. So WhatsApp has their own. It has its own response system where you can set it prompts so that if people ask certain questions about certain things, it can offer your list of services, and it can respond in a fairly authentic way. But it also says at the top of the page, you're now chatting with an AI agent. And from a customer's perspective, I'm not sure that I'd go with that at all, to be honest. On that point, I've just signed a deal with Yell. We had a long conversation when I signed up, and they showed me the flaws of my SEO and the website, and now it's being rebuilt. £299 a month for a year. Kerno, I'll be honest, I don't rate Yell. I think a lot of people have been stung by Yell. The reason I don't rate it is because of the stories I've heard. And locking you into a contract like that, I don't think is good practice for any business. I don't think making people sign up for a whole year, locking them in, because the value can change, can't it? If you start paying and think, oh, this service is actually pretty decent, month 1, month 2, it's actually, they've done what they say they were going to do and it's great. What happens on month 3 and 4 when leads tank and they're not actually delivering the service that they said they were gonna, but you're in contract with them for a year? How easy do you think it's going to be to push back on a large business like Yell and actually get your money back or get a refund or get them to be accountable for the lack of service that they're providing? I think you might find it very difficult. A decent AI agent will portray your business image or even replicate your tone so that the customer won't even know they're messaging you directly. I'm not sure. I agree. Is there an AI agent there that, yeah, I'm not sure I agree that I wouldn't know that I'm talking to an AI agent. I've never tried, I've never used it. But what the point I'm getting at is people think that AI is going to fix their business and take out all the hard work. It's going to take out the having to respond, having to market. You know all these posters, these leaflets and thumbnails and stuff. You can spot them a mile off, the fact that they're AI. It's to the point where it's overdone now. And it's inauthentic. Someone put a rant on Facebook the other day. He's a local artist, and he just put a rant saying, if I see your business using these generic AI posters to advertise your services or whatever, he said, I'm steering well clear. I will never interact with your business again. But he's very strong against AI, because he's an artist. It obviously could affect his income at some point. But I understand his point is they're all generic. They all look exactly the same, unless you're giving some slightly unusual prompts and you're asking it for a very specific thing that you can't do yourself. If you're putting in very basic prompts to get these posters, these leaflets, I think it's gonna turn out like everyone else's, and they're all gonna sort of blend in as one sort of AI slop, generic look about them. Mill says Yell are incredibly poor. Kerno, are you within your 14-day? Are you within your 14-day period where you can get your money back and cancel that service? Because you might be disappointed. You might find value in it now, but in 3 to 6 months' time, you might realise that it wasn't a great deal. And £300 a month is quite a lot of money, especially if you're not getting what you're paying for. When you want a service, do you ever go to Yell? They won't show up in Google searches, by the way. You have to go to Yell to search. Really? Yell are taking your money and no visibility for you. You don't come up in Google search when someone searches your business. Does Yell not come up then? Rich says, I used it through high level, only running it for a few weeks and needs tweaking. You still need to be quick personally with the follow-up, otherwise it can have annoying responses. With AI, yeah. Rich, I think you said something along the lines of it deals with the back and forth and the questions quite well for you on your behalf, but as soon as it gets stuck, it will send you a notification to say, I'm stuck, come and respond personally. Is that right? It sort of gives you a little prompt to say, I've said as much as I can say, and now you need to take over. Is that right? Let's end that poll. I'm assuming you guys can see the poll results in the chat. I hate AI logos and leaflets. They hurt a business. I think they didn't within the first 6 months where people started using them. I think they look quite impressive, but now you just see them everywhere, and I think it's so overdone. And I think the average Joe, the everyday person, I think they'll spot it and they'll just not. As soon as you can see that people are using AI content, I think it will make them distrust everything else that you do. I think like AI before and after pictures, AI leaflets, AI web design, that can have an effect on how much I trust things like your reviews. Are your reviews legitimate? If your marketing's not legitimate, why would your reviews be legitimate? And all that sort of stuff. Like I saw a poster in my local sandwich shop for a local pressure washing business. All of the photos on there were AI generated photos, and they weren't good ones. And so I'm sure the average Joe public would pick up that leaflet, think, "Oh, this is quite impressive. This looks good," but then you'd already realised that it's an AI leaflet, and then you'd look at the images and see that they're generated images. It's like, why can't you use your own images on this leaflet? What are you hiding? Are you not that well established where you haven't got enough pictures yet? And it just immediately makes you doubt the business. Unfortunately, Yell love to call and sell. They sign you up. It's a very known in the industry big waste of money. Find a plumber right now on Google and find the Yell entry without referencing Yell in your search. Yell and Yell running your website SEO are two different things, by the way. What do you mean, Darren? Can you expand on that? Rich says the AI ends the conversation when it's gathered the information it needed to. It asks them to send images to my WhatsApp, and then I keep the conversation and quoting on there. Okay, and that's through Go High Level. Rich, do you rate Go High Level? Okay, I'm going to keep moving because we've been going for like 2.5 hours now. It's getting quite late, isn't it? Geez, 10 o'clock. Number 8. Something that's really drastically improved my customer funnel, my workflow, my ability to get back to people in a timely manner, my ability to not miss messages and miss customers and keep track of the status of each job and each customer is my leads form. Number 8, my leads form. So number 7 was authenticity and integrity. Number 8 is my leads form. My leads form. Now, because I think we're not dissimilar to other businesses in that just because we're fairly big on social media, we still get messages from all different platforms. And I think any sort of decently aware business in 2026 is going to be using social media. They're going to be using all forms of social media: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, potentially YouTube, maybe not so much YouTube. And you've obviously got text, you've got phone calls, you've got messages, you've got inquiries through the website. Something that's helped me massively is funneling all these people down into one leads form. And so my form looks like this. You can see it on the website actually. So the best way I can show you is on my website. When you go to contact us, it will ask you to fill out my contact form. Now I'm thinking of changing this because I saw someone's website last week who had this contact form on their main page, on their contact us page on the website, and you can attach pictures there as well. I forgot whose it was, but that was the main thing. I wanted to be able to attach pictures, which you can do on this form. So you can add files to this form, and that's something I really liked. I think I like the idea more of when I get an Instagram message, I actually send them straight to the website contact us page, and the form is here. Because the bottleneck with my form at the minute is that people have to sign into their Google account. And some people don't have a Google account, or they struggle to sign in. And I've had a little bit of pushback on that. And every quote that comes through, every potential quote that comes through from any platform, I send them a generic spiel that says, hi, if you're after a quote, please fill out this contact form. If you don't fill out the form, you won't get a response. If you don't put all your information in, like your full address, your postcode, your name, if you don't fill it out properly, you won't get a response. We're very busy, we get lots of messages, and this is the only way. This is the only way we work. You won't have a response via DM. So if you're trying to send photos and stuff via DM, we've got a very specific process, that's all. And this could be something that we might be in a slightly different position to most businesses because we're quite active on social media and we've got quite a big presence. Maybe someone who's just starting out couldn't get away with doing this, couldn't get away with redirecting their customer to a form when actually all they want to do is chat over WhatsApp and send you a couple of pictures. We just don't respond to DMs anymore. And I think when the business gets to a certain size, trying to keep track of all those messages and actually get back to people in a timely manner and not miss people, I think it's very important to have one funnel for them. So when people fill out this form, they get, I'm going to try not to show people's information here, so I'm going to zoom way out. So these are all the leads from this year. And I've got an activity status where I can, I'm intentionally zoomed out so you can't see people's information, but I can say whether they've responded. So this black one, or the grey one, is unwanted leads. So the grey one is when I send people either elsewhere or I say I can't do the job for you, sorry. The orange one is where people, I'm waiting for a response, but I don't keep on top of this as much as I should. So probably 70% of these are actually already booked. Red ones are quotes. So dark red are quotes that people say no to. So I send the price, they say, sorry, that's too much, or whatever it might be, or that the date's not going to work for us, we need it done soon, or whatever it might be. So that's dark red. And then light red or pink is no response whatsoever. So we send the price, we get no response. At the minute, we're not following up on any of these. So there's a huge opportunity here later on in the year. When we get quiet, I can go back through all these pink ones and say, hi, it's been a couple of months since we sent that quote. Did you want to have another look at having the work done? So huge opportunities here. Blue is booked. And so everyone that gets in touch, whether it's through the website, whether it's Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever it might be, they all, when they fill out this form, it populates this spreadsheet, and it helps keep me organized. And that's been massive for my business. That's been huge. And I don't think it's going to be beneficial for everyone, because maybe you're not quite at that level yet where you're getting enough inquiries that you're struggling to keep up with everyone. I know Rich definitely is. I know Rich is getting inquiries from here, there, and everywhere. I'm assuming some of you that are 2+ years in are at that stage where you could probably do with some sort of system. That's been massive for me. Yell is a directory, but they have a side hustle building websites and doing SEO. Completely different things. Interesting. Thanks, Daz. Didn't know that. You can attach pictures onto my website. I have every new customer do that, and I say if they do it, I can remotely quote them. Yeah, was it yours, Mills? Mills exterior cleaning, maybe? I think I looked at yours last week. Was it yours that inspired me? Is this your... This doesn't look like your branding. It doesn't look like... I can attach pictures on this website. Is that not yours? Mills Services, Mills Cleaning, Mills Cleaning. I don't think this is you, is it? That's not my site. Oh, sorry. Is it? It's not Mills Pressure Washing, is it? You won't be able to post links in the chat, by the way. So if you're trying to post a URL, I'm not going to see it. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to change that soon, just so that people don't have to log into Google, because that's been a bit of an issue for me. All the old biddies and stuff, they're, you know, sometimes I deal with stuff over the phone for the older generation, but for everyone else who I know full well can use a computer or a phone, or a mobile phone, they're going through the form. Else they just don't get a response, and that's fine. If they can't be asked to fill out my form, it's a really great filter for me, because if someone can't be asked to spend 2 minutes filling out my form, then they probably weren't interested in getting the work done in the first place. Or you could argue that they're just going to move on to the next pressure washing service, who make their sales funnel a little bit easier, who make contacting them a little bit easier. You could argue both ways. I haven't really done enough research to figure that out yet. Super on it with all of this stuff. You should get curbside cleaning up and come in EP episode. Yeah, I'd be down to have Ryan on again. Ryan's been on a couple of episodes with us. So. Wix have that facility. No need for a Google form. Fair enough. I will look at that. I think my website's with Wix. Yeah, my website's with Wix. Rapid says, "Hey bud, I'm self-employed landscaper and I get quite a few inquiries about pressure washing, repointing and sealing. I'm looking to invest in a petrol pressure washer so I can start taking on..." And then your message is cut off. What would you recommend? Rapid, very difficult to say without some kind of budget in mind. And also, are you happy plugging into the customer's tap? Or do you need a high output of flow? The reason I ask is because anything above around about 13 or 15 litres per minute, you're going to want some sort of buffer tank. So the size of the kit massively increases based on the sort of flow that you want to put out. If you can keep it under about 12 or 13 litres per minute, you can plug straight into the customer's tap and you don't need this big buffer tank, basically. We spoke about it earlier on in the video for a budget of about 1,250 for like a starter machine, like a quality starter machine. So what I'd recommend, rather than having that conversation all over again, when we finish this live stream, just watch it back from the beginning, because we go through it in quite some depth. I'm off, knackered, had a monster conservatory clean today after the shoulders and gym this morning. See you all next week. Elliot, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time, mate. Thank you. So my leads form has been fantastic. Right, next on the list, number 9. Okay, this is a big one. Someone mentioned it earlier on in the chat and it made me think, yes, that's something I need to add to my list. Deposits. Now, up until very recently, up until Kieran started, March, because he basically pushed me to do it, we haven't been taking deposits. It's been almost 6 years now. I've never really took deposits because it sort of complicated the process. It's like, I've got to take like 350 quid here, and then I've got to remember to knock it off the bill at the end. And like, what if the customer cancels? I don't want to get into that conversation of, well, it's a non-refundable deposit, and am I really going to keep that person's money if they do cancel? It's all these little questions that have always put me off asking for a deposit. And again, I don't know whether it's the position that I'm in now that allows me, that gives people the confidence that they can. For example, we take 30% deposits now, and we did a £1,800 patio repointing project the other day. And if you times that by 0.3, so we requested a £540 deposit before we'd done any work. So someone sent us 540 quid before we've done any work for them, which I think you need to be your business needs to be at a certain level to be able to ask for that. Also, I think it's very reasonable as a business owner, as any business owner, regardless of what level you're at. I think it should be a requirement, especially if you're having to outlay for materials before the job begins. So say, for example, you've got we had this repointing project. We probably spent £400 on materials and consumables for this project. And so I think it was very reasonable to ask for that amount of money up front, and it's also to secure the booking. So we say we request a 30% deposit on anything over £500 to secure your booking and help pay towards materials, just so that we're not spending £400 out of pocket only for the customer to cancel 2 days before, or whatever it might be. And half of these materials we're ordering online, and it's going to be a massive pain in the arse to have to try and send them back, and it's just a nightmare for everyone. So the thing that actually prompted this, as well as Kieran saying, you should be taking deposits, definitely. Sometimes it takes someone outside of the business to say, yeah, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you taking deposits? The thing that did it for me was I ordered £400 worth of tarmac sealer. I think it was. No, it was £700 worth. It was a massive driveway. £700 worth of tarmac sealer I ordered from Smart Seal, and I'd booked in this job with the daughter of this old couple who I was going to tarmac seal this massive driveway. I booked it in with the daughter. Suddenly, the son messages me. I didn't even know the son existed, but he messaged me from a different number and said, sorry, we're going to have to cancel. He didn't say sorry, actually. He said, we're going to have to cancel the work. I wasn't aware it was happening. It doesn't need to be done anymore. I was like, I've been dealing with the daughter. With all respect, I've already purchased all the materials. You're messaging me the day before. This would be a massive loss to my business if I didn't go through with this work. And he just responded saying, you're going to have to use the materials on another job. No remorse, no apology, no word of a sorry, no nothing. So I lost a whole day's work. The job was over £2,000 worth of work. So I lost a day there, and I lost another day there where we had obviously the clean and then the sealing portion. So I lost 2 days work. I lost £700 worth of product, which, yes, I did end up using on another job, but that's not the point. And I just thought, if I'd have took a deposit, that would have covered at least the materials. Also, so that avoids that happening. Also, the great thing about a deposit, the greatest thing about a deposit, which we've discovered through, we're doing a lot of high value work now. So anything over 500 quid, we're taking a deposit on, which has been really beneficial because all of our work recently have been larger projects, and so we're pulling in, we're booking people a month out, but we're pulling 30% forward. And I learned this from Alex Hormozy. If you can pull some of that capital forward, if you can get some of that cash up front upon booking, that can massively help your cash flow. Massively. Again, offers you a lot of freedom and options that you didn't have before. So it's almost like free money just being pulled forward. It's like we haven't done anything yet, and yes, you've got to be responsible with the money and make sure that you've got enough there when it comes to ordering those materials and stuff. And if the customer does eventually cancel, you're probably going to end up refunding the money anyway if you haven't already purchased the materials. But the point is, I've realised how powerful it is because it's not just one customer. It's not just 300, 400, 500 quid that we're pulling forward. You times that by 40 customers a month or whatever it is that we're doing. Maybe 20, 30 that are over, £500. I don't know the numbers. I'm just pulling numbers out of thin air. But if you multiply, maybe, I think it's pointless even doing that, but say you have 10 customers that are all paying a 30% deposit of 200 plus, that's £2,000 that you've pulled forward for this month from work that's booked in next month. That can make a huge impact on someone's business, and everyone else is doing it. All other large service-based businesses, things like landscapers, builders, what are the other ones? They're all taking deposits because they've all got materials to pay for. So it's a very normal thing. But I think you do have to be at a certain level where your business is established enough and you've got enough of a presence, you've got good reviews, like solid reviews, you've got a good online presence, you've got a nice website where people can, and then you've been to visit in person and you've spoken through the job and they can see that you're legitimate. I think it's very normal to then ask for a deposit on the larger work. We could say, if we wanted to, we could say anything over £300 we're taking a deposit. I think that's equally very fair. It's just more admin work for us. It does add to the admin work. Not only have we got to create a new invoice for that 30% deposit, but we've also got to edit the quote that we sent to say, okay, we've been paid 30%. So when it comes to invoicing the full amount, we need to make sure we've adjusted it and credited that 30% back. And so it does add another like 2 steps to the invoice, to the quoting and the invoicing process, but it massively helps with your cash flow, 100%. Would you say it's hard to ask for deposits when your business is not established? Thank you, Apex. That's just a point that I think it's you could definitely see a bit of pushback. You could. I actually had pushback from one person very early on when I first attempted to take deposits. I think the first person I asked for a deposit from early on, they said, sorry, I'm not comfortable giving a deposit. I'm not comfortable paying anything up front when you haven't done any work yet. I was like, yeah, that's kind of fair. I'm not gonna ask for deposits. That was quite early on, because I'd probably be like that. If I hadn't met the person and they just sent me a generic quote for my driveway for my tarmac driveway to be washed, if they just sent me a remote quote and said, yeah, we take 30% up front, I'll be like, no, I'm going to find someone else. Sorry. However, if they visited and said, we need 30% up front because we're so busy, we're literally stacked for a month, we're working every single day for a month, we're having to work weekends just to get through the work, and we'll probably end up ordering some chemicals for your driveway as well, we're going to need a 30% deposit just to secure your booking and cover some of those chemicals, I'll be like, absolutely, totally understand. I've read your reviews. I can see that you guys are legit. No problem. Different conversation, different business, different approach, different sales approach. Seeing someone in person, and you get a good feel for someone who speaks to you in person, I think. A lot of people get scammed. If you have the social media proof that you're turning up and doing the work, people will be reluctant to pay a deposit. Exterior Essentials J is in the house. He says, started taking deposits myself this year, with commercial / school work taking 30 and sometimes 60 days. It was hitting cash flow hard. Deposits helped keep the account healthy all year round. Jay, can I ask a question? Are you taking deposits on those commercial jobs? Because I would have thought that requesting a deposit from a commercial client that takes 60 to 90 days to pay sometimes, I would have thought it would be quite difficult to get a deposit out of them. I've never thought about it until now. Have you had any pushback on that? Or are you saying you're taking deposits from residential customers to potentially supplement that commercial work not paying for such a long time? So you take a hit on the commercial work because the payment's so drawn out, but you're being tied over by deposits from residential. What are you drinking? It's a Pepsi in a Cruz Campo glass. Pepsi Max. You can take deposits at any point of your startup if you have a process. Give them an invoice, make it a bank transfer paper trail, binds you legally. If you take cash and verbal, it's sketchy. Yeah, 100%. And this is another thing that I love about Free Agent. There's a paper trail, and so when I'm requesting a deposit from customers, that it's almost like a receipt. Like there's proof that they've sent me a deposit, which I think again offers a lot of reassurance. So, and I'm not making a big deal out of the deposit either. So when these customers get in touch and say, yeah, we'd like to go ahead with the quote, I'll just be like, great, here's my bank details. If you can send a 30% deposit over, we'll get you booked into the calendar. It's not like we require a 30% deposit because this, and this. Like, I'm not trying to justify that deposit. I'm just dropping it in conversation. Great, we'll get you booked in. If you can send a 30% deposit over, that'd be great. And I'll just attach an invoice, and they'll pay it straight away. It's just make it easy for them. Just make it easy and give them confidence that this is just part of your process. You do this every day. You're not trying to justify it. You're not trying to sell them on the deposit. This is just how we work. Take it or leave it, sort of thing. Has anyone got a number 10 for me? I'd like some suggestions in the chat, because I came up with 9 reasons that I think have contributed towards my business being successful, and I would consider my business to be successful at this point, because things are going very well. And although there's things that definitely need fixing, there's things that require my attention more than others, I would say I've built a successful business. And I think these reasons listed here are foundational factors as to what's caused my business to do well. There's no magic. It's not because it's me. It's not because of people think like it's easier for me because we do a lot on the socials, and some people consider me, I hate the word, but they call me an influencer, and things come easy to influencers because they have a lot of reach and all that sort of stuff. But anyone can do what we do here. It doesn't take my particular set of skills to do what we've done. It's just hard work and consistency. And granted, the videography and the editing and all that sort of stuff might not come naturally to someone, but they can do it in other ways, where it might be through leaflets, it might be through Google Ads, it might be through a different type of marketing. It's just setting it's leaning into your strengths and just being consistent with it. That's been the main thing for me. It's not because I chose a certain path. It's because the path that I chose, I was consistent with. Uniform / looking professional. Don't look like a drunk. Simple. So Matt reckons uniform and looking professional. I agree. And speaking professionally as well, like not necessarily using words that you wouldn't normally use, not necessarily trying to sound like you know what you're talking about more than you actually do. It's great to be educated. It's great to know certain things about certain surfaces and understand the chemicals that you're using and the equipment and the method and explaining that to the customer. But as soon as they push back with a question or a problem, if you're not able to answer it because you don't know the answer, I think it's great to be open. It's such a lost thing these days to actually be honest with someone and say, I don't know the answer to your question, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to make it my goal this evening to figure out the answer to your question, and I'll come back to you with that, because I've not done it before. I think that's so rare these days to say, I don't know. And I think it's very valuable. I think you can definitely use it to your advantage. Kerno, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you. Yep. Jay says, yeah, residential deposits to supplement the longer payment terms from the commercial side. I see. We have weeks at a time over the summer holidays on schoolwork where we have zero money coming in. The deposits just help to keep things leveled off. That's so true. So yeah, if you've got 2 weeks booked out for just schoolwork and you ain't getting paid during those 2 weeks because you're on those jobs, payment terms are 30 or 60 days. And you've got 2 weeks with zero income. But then you're also getting all these inquiries coming in, booking in for like a month out or 2 weeks out or whatever it might be. Yeah, if you can pull 200 or 300 quid from each one of those inquiries forward, it keeps the income coming in. It's a brilliant idea. Rex, what do you mean? As I going to say socials? Oh, do you think socials would be a core reason for success? Is that what you're saying? Plus, on bigger projects, it offers the protection that your material outlay is covered and peace of mind that the work will be... I think did you delete your comment or did someone else? Either you've deleted it or Matt's deleted it. I don't know where that's gone. Uniform. You think uniform is a huge part of it? Yeah, do we think like just in general professionalism? What does uniform... I think uniform comes into the same category as sign writing, as good branding, as good website, good leaflet. I think they all come under the same umbrella as like professional branding. Would you agree? I don't know if I'm doing that well. Just to be clear, I would actually argue that I'm not doing it well. So my logo, that's my logo. And fun fact, 2 years in, I think almost 2 years in, Jakey did not realise this was a pressure washer. This was a lance. So this, for those of you that haven't spotted it before, this is a lance and this is a hose that comes off the lance. This was something I just put together I painted it. I drew it myself. But when I first started the business, I drew it myself thinking that's what a pressure washing lance looks like, because I didn't even reference any images or anything. I just thought, oh yeah, that's what it looks like. And I just drew it and I was like, that's a cool logo. I like that. Let's go with that. Got it printed on the van, got it printed on the uniform. And that's not actually what a pressure washing lance looks like. And Jakey didn't know that's what it was supposed to be. I said to him one day, I think we need to change the logo to make the lance look like more like an actual lance. And he went, oh, that's supposed to be a lance? Yeah, I never knew that. I never knew what that was. Which is so funny. So my branding, I mean, I've got my colours. I've got my white, my orange and my black. I think that's a core foundational colour scheme that Smelts Pressure Washing. I think we do that quite well, having a set colour scheme. I think that's pretty good. We do it with the YouTube videos as well. So if you look on my YouTube, you'll see the logo, orange and white. All the thumbnails have generally got an element of orange and white and black in there. I think we do that quite well. But the logo itself, the van sign writing, is not good. I mean, just the logo itself. When we look at this thumbnail, for example, like that's not. I wouldn't say that was branding necessarily. It does the job. It's clear, but there's no branding. Maybe there is. Maybe I'm overthinking it, and maybe I'm being too critical. But it does look like it's been drawn by a 3-year-old. Someone mentioned that a while back, and I took that to heart. But it's fine. I get it. I understand. Debt is not a bad thing for a business, Lewis. I think you might be you might be tuning into the first part of the stream, mate. I think you might be a little bit far behind. Because you're on YouTube, people will hire you more than someone that's not on YouTube. I think it's another avenue that people will come through. There's a lot of people that get in touch with us that have no idea we're on YouTube. The majority of people who get in touch with us are generally through Google, through the website, through Facebook. They're not people that know that we're on YouTube at all. And is that unfair? Rex, would you say that's not fair? Would you say that's your disadvantage and my advantage? Because I've decided to work hard at something and build something that I'm particularly obsessed with. Would you say that you're at a disadvantage? Because the way you phrased your comment then, because you're on YouTube, people will hire you more. That sounds like you're at a disadvantage. And it's easier for me because I'm on YouTube, which YouTube takes so much work. Like it's very hard to explain how much work YouTube takes, but that is a direction I've decided to point the business in, because I think our business is very visual. Before and after pictures, videos, all that sort of stuff. I don't know why more people aren't doing it. Our line of work is so visual that I don't know why you wouldn't if you can. And so this is just a route I decided to go down because I enjoy YouTube. I enjoy making videos and stuff. And in the beginning, for the first 3-4 years, I'd say 1-2 leads a month maybe from YouTube. Now there's more. There's a lot more, definitely, because I'm actually tracking it through my page. It's only been recent. I know you're not hating, mate. I know you're not hating. I'm sorry. I know you've been a viewer for quite a while. It's only recently when I've seen an increase in people that have found me through the YouTube channel and that have inquired and booked in based on that. But I think it definitely adds legitimacy to the business when you could. But that's just a natural byproduct of people seeing the work that you do. So it's the same as before and after pictures, same as reels. It's just like, this is how we do it. This is what we do. This is how we do it. And here's the result at the end. And like, that's exactly what I want as a customer from an exterior cleaning business. I want to see what you do, how you do it, and the result that you get at the end, just to make sure it's good. And I'll book you. You were asking the things that made your business successful, and I think YouTube is one of them. I understand. It's not. It's 100% not one of them. I think Facebook was a huge driving factor because it was the one thing that I actually focused on. I wasn't even on TikTok and Instagram before. I was just on Facebook. All my before and after pictures, all of my shorts and reels and stuff, they were all posted on Facebook, and that's where the majority of my inquiries come through, because that's what I focused on. Now I've broadened my net and I'm focusing on other avenues as well. And it's no real extra effort to post that one video on Facebook and also post it on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. It's no extra effort really. The long form videos are a huge amount of extra effort. But I would pile that in with probably consistency. We spoke about consistency earlier with regards to mainly marketing, and I've decided that my marketing avenue is social media videos, before and after pictures and stuff, and I was just consistent with it. And I argued that regardless of what anyone else's avenue that they decided to do was, as long as you're consistent with it, like I've been with YouTube and Facebook and whatever, I think you'll be successful. So I sort of lumped it in with number 6, consistency. I understand your point. You think it looks like a MIG welder does. Like Tracy says, likability, great communicator, that would down the line wear thin if your quality of work wasn't up to the standard you pride yourself on. This is very apparent. You do the best job that you can. is that me? Are you referencing me? Thank you if you are. That is, yeah, I believe that too. Yeah. Yeah, communication with the customer, I think, is great, is number one. Not over-promising and under-delivering. If anything, under-promising and over-delivering is something that you can use to your advantage. And yeah, just doing the best job, having taken pride in your work. I think pride comes with integrity, number 7. Yeah, let's leave that as an open-ended question. Open-ended. Maybe next week, have a think about it. Next week, not necessarily for me, for my business in particular, but next week you can come back and say, I've thought about it. I think this is a key thing that makes a business successful. This is what I think. Have a think about it over the week. Mull it over. Thank you guys so much for watching. If any of you would like to become a member of the Discord, which is where all of my attention is focused at the minute. So I don't respond to DMs on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. I point everyone in the direction of the Discord, because this is where I'm able to give all of my help and advice, so people can tag me. So I've got a general chat. See this little tag here, this little number 1? That means someone has tagged me, sent you the details for the members map. So if people want my attention specifically in the identify this section, or if they want my attention in the repointing section, they'll just at me and tag me, and I'll see that and respond. And obviously I check in every single day and just see if there's any questions I can jump in and answer that someone else hasn't already answered yet. So we've got chats for repointing, sealing, roof cleaning, stain treatments, wood care, render, solar panels, window cleaning, marketing, equipment, pricing and quoting. So we'll all help each other out with pricing and quoting. I think it's a fantastic resource for both people that are just starting out in the industry and also people that have been doing this for a long time. I think you can pick up all sorts of little tips and tricks and just generally bounce off other people that are in a similar position to you. And again, if you're just starting out, incredible resource for people. And I'm in there every day. So if you need my attention specifically, you're not going to get it anywhere else. You can message me on WhatsApp, you can message me on Instagram. Unfortunately, I don't have time to reply. So all of my energy is focused on the Discord. And the way you can get access to the Discord, in my main YouTube channel here, click on the description, and there's a link here, Discord community membership. If you click that link, it'll show you how to get access to the Discord. It's a paid membership. It's about £5 a month for the base tier, and you get extra perks if you go for the more expensive one, which include all of these boosted images. So we've got over 1,500 images for each different category of exterior cleaning. So there's hundreds and hundreds of images of block paving transformations that you can use all these in your marketing. You can use it in your Facebook posts. You can use it on your websites. There's hundreds and hundreds of pictures of gutter clearing. I've had to make a separate folder for gutter clearing because we've got too many images in the first one. High quality, again, before and after pictures that you can use. There's roof cleaning, faces and soffits, resin, specifically one for resin, which I think is pretty cool. Roof cleaning, solar panels, repointing, all different surfaces, tarmac restorations, everything is in here. Some really great restoration pictures here that you can use. So if you sign up to become a boosted member, you'll get access to all this stuff. I will eventually catch up on the Discord. No worries, Matt. I totally understand. We all need a break sometimes. I know you do a lot of work in the Discord, so take as long as you need. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Daz. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Alex. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. Keep in touch in the Discord, and I'll see you later.